is JK Games, a game podcast where we bring you the news and reviews we care about.
And this season, we're playing through one game at a time with our official video game book club.
And this season, we're playing through one game at a time. I just read Kayla's line. Y'all, I just got back from vacation. I'm a little sick still too.
She's coughing too. Everyone's sick.
Literally, if I walk off the screen, off cams, like it's because I'm like coughing up mucus or I got a really bad itch in my throat. So I'm chewing gum also, like the mintiness, like helps me breathe. Yeah, helps me breathe. Yeah. And then I was moving the window around so I could actually see our notes.
That's fair.
Okay, let's just start over. This is JK Games, a gaming podcast where we bring you the news and reviews we care about. And
this season, we're playing through one game at a time.
You know what? Hold on. This is all a bit because life is strange. You can rewind your max.
Yeah. Wait, ready?
Whether you're type to 100% every side quest,
or you're just here for the vibes and the story.
Easy mode or expert, you belong here. We're glad you're joining us, and hopefully you didn't go back in time with us. Well, we hope you did. I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore.
You can forget about it.
Yeah.
Grab your snacks and let's break it down one level at a time.
Yow.
Welcome back, Jerica.
Yes, I'm back. Like, y'all had fun without me.
We just played Animal Crossing and
that's a lot of fun. No, I thought that was so fun. I went back and watched like some of the VOD and I saw the clip on Instagram and it was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Josh, was yours did you have the basement with the pyramid? Like
yeah,
the weird
it was just a pyramid.
Egyptian?
Well,
that's creepy.
Well, I don't even really remember what I did. That was from years ago. I wasn't like set it up like that, like for the video. That's just what was there.
Oh, so that was just naturally in your basement. That was true.
Which is even funnier.
Identity, true like true look into your
psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerica just went on a vacation. She went to Universal and Disney. She
was
telling us, we don't have to go very long, but she was telling us that her favorite thing was, what were you saying was your favorite thing, Jerica, from the trip?
So many things, but the first thing that just like popped in my brain was when we went to Disney, Epcot, like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride was really fucking good. That was so much fun. Like a lot of those rides, like I'm gonna be honest, I didn't look up anything about them. It's not a ride that I was like, I had no itinerary. My only agenda was to eat turkey legs on this trip and hang out with my friends. Also, I was just like sick day 2, so I didn't really care what we did. Just like, let's go do cool stuff. So my friends like had a list of rides. We went to like 3 different parks in one day, and we had a list of like specific rides because obviously you wait for a ride for 3 hours sometimes, and it's just that's torture, but whatever. That's just what it is. But like the ride that was picked for us to go to first was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I just didn't look up anything about the rides. I'm like, I don't know if it's a roller coaster. I don't know if this is weird like 40X situation. So I literally went in blind and I was like, oh, this is like a roller coaster. Oh my God, we're in a roller coaster on the inside and we're spinning it around. It was so much fun. That ride was awesome.
That's awesome. That's a great first ride.
What about Super Nintendo World?
It was my second time at Super Nintendo World.
I
so
forgot.
Like,
right.
But and I'll be pleased to say Donkey Kong World is really cool, but I was really sick the day we were doing that. So I didn't get a chance, and I didn't go. We actually stayed at the resort where you walk outside and you're at Epic Universal. So I had no excuses other than I just felt like crap.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to ride the mine cart ride.
Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately. And I didn't see Donkey Kong. He never came out when I was there. And I was patient. But I did take pictures there, and I had one of the little banana floats. Like
my Instagram video about the banana float, it had like 200,000 views or something.
It was delicious. Well, I hope people heard your recommendation and get that in their life. It was delicious.
That's awesome.
All right.
I'm so happy. Well, guys, we today in just a little bit are going to be going through all things Life is Strange. We made a quick pivot. This was not going to be what we did when Jerica came back. We were going to do something completely different. But we have news coming tomorrow about the new Life is Strange game that has been said already that's coming out in 2026. So that's super exciting. We're like, you know what? We're just going to cover all Life is Strange as much as we can in as little time as we can, and as spoiler free as we can. So majority of this, until we say otherwise, is going to be spoiler free. If you want to know like absolutely nothing about the games, like no characters, no nothing, then obviously don't watch this. But if you've never played Life is Strange, we hope that this can kind of give you a snapshot of what the games have to offer and why we all love them so much. This is not the first time we've talked about this on JK Games. We've talked about it many times. But for those who are already live in the chat and here with us, Coal Mines, Aaron Eats Food, Sirius Shard, In Ladder, Trav
Ladder! I just wanted to
kinds
say
of
it.
fun.
Oh, did I scare your dog? Was that me? Did the dog hear me?
You guys know she's got to have one at least a show. But before we dive into all of the Life is Strange goodness, we do have some housekeeping to keep up with today, and some exciting stuff going on that will be announced shortly. But as far as this week, things you can expect from our drop in, drop out multiverse, if you will. Tomorrow we have Spotlight Games. Jerica, did you confirm? Are you going to be on there with them tomorrow or not sure yet?
I don't know. Let me check my inbox. I just
Maybe.
remember I brought that up. I don't know. Could be. You never know.
It's a
Should show up to
mystery.
see what happens.
Yeah, Spotlight Games covers all news, so they're going to be reacting to and talking about what is announced tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Make sure to join them. And then on Thursday, Jericho will be joining Jake and Patrick, I believe, going over all things from the Xbox Developer Direct and talking all things Fable. Hopefully, you guys get some. Has it been confirmed that you'll hear more about the new Fable?
Oh yeah, it's coming, and
Okay,
I have not been excited for like a showcase, state of play. I know this is Xbox Developer Direct, etc. All these events, I haven't been like this dialed in and as excited for this thing in a really long time, because I'm just a big Fable sicko. So I am ready to just see what Playground Games has been working on. Like, what are the things coming to Fable that we wish we had like 15 years ago, 20 years ago? I don't know how long. It's been a long time. I can't wait to see more of that game, and I hope there's a release date. So yeah, I cannot wait to do drop in, drop out this week. It's gonna be fun. I've been playing a lot of Fable 2 and 3. So
Nice.
I've
I've
never
never
played
played it. I've never played any of them, and I definitely want to play this new one. Hopefully, it's a good like starting off point for people. 'cause
my
I wanna see
girlfriend
them.
was watching me play and just got really turned off by it. But she just don't. She don't. When you play a game that's pretty old, predated, and it has that humor, I know it just seems it will turn some people off. But like, it was just a lot of the farts that I was doing, and she's like, "Why are you farting? Why are you burping? Why's your character like?" I'm trying to get the citizens to love me. They love that shit. So
That's so funny.
I love Fable.
We got my fam in the chat, Fancy Nancy and Coleman, who you might hear us talk about in just a second. Coleman also said Lilo Coal Miner confirmed. That's so funny. But I think that's all for housekeeping, besides to make sure that you have your calendars marked for our in-person drop in, drop out extravaganza next weekend, which is crazy that it's next weekend already.
Next
Technically
weekend.
it's
2
yeah,
weeks.
not this upcoming weekend, but the next, it's 2 weeks, yeah. The 30th through the 1st. Lots of stuff happening. We've announced a couple things that are going on so far. Make sure you check out our socials and you can see as we announce. But we're doing a 12-hour stream on that Saturday, where all three of us will be dropping in and dropping out at various points, and lots of fun stuff happening. So make sure you join the Discord also to be a part of those, seeing when that gets announced, when things drop, and as we go live, you'll get alerted. But we have a special announcement, even more special. Jerica, take it away for our special announcement. What we got going on?
Listen, I'm going to just kick it off with what is going to be our first video game book club game of the year. What is the first game we're going to play? And that little game, and it's sort of nice because it sort of wraps into this conversation. We know we love a good choose your own adventure, and there is one from the Telltale series I have never played. Kayla, have you've never played this one either, right?
I have not played this one.
I think Josh hasn't. Oh God, this is gonna be so good. Oh God, we're playing The Wolf Among Us. We're not gonna wait for this. situation where there's a remake. I've been saying that, I've been holding off because I'm like, maybe they just like remaster it, remake it. But it's a Telltale game. The style of those games holds up very well, and I'm ready to dive into the story because everyone just always gushes. Just gushing. There's liquid coming out of all the porpoises. Is that the right word? Or is that a whale?
Orifices? Is it orifices?
You know what I mean. All the holes. Which orifices have porpoises? Porpoises have orifices? I don't know. There's
correct.
liquid coming out of everybody when they talk about this game. So I also want to be a moist mommy and be a part of that conversation. So if y'all have ever played or you want to revisit this incredible game that makes everyone wet, you should play along with this starting next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. And so Aaron Eats Food said, I've been looking for an excuse to play this game. This is the perfect excuse to play this game. Like, if you haven't been around for one of our video game book clubs, which we might also have some changes coming to some of that branding wise.
Listen, we're not gathering here to read books. I know I'm not. These two might.
I am.
do like on the side, but I'm not reading. You can tell that I don't read. I literally called an orifice. Yes, you can. You can. Don't. It's okay. I'm proud to say I don't read a lot. So, but I do play a lot of video games, and we're not here for books. Some people are also here for books. I see you, Coal Mines. I see you. You know, maybe we do books once in a while, but we're here for games. And I just don't like, it's just a wordy title. So we're workshopping some really cool ideas and hopefully get that announced soon too. So just stay tuned. We'll call this segment something else, but it will still be the video game book club that you know and love.
Yes.
So, yes.
Very exciting. We are going to be doing, as of right now, our plan is to be doing 3 weeks. With, like Jerica mentioned, our next one, or our first one being next week, so the 26th. I think we should probably, at least the goal of finishing the first episode. I believe there's 5 episodes. But Coleman, my brother, in the chat live right now, is actually going to be joining us. He joined us for the first episode. He's going to be joining us, and he joined us for Titanfall. So that's going to be really fun. He's an expert in the Telltale games, and I am not. So maybe he can give us a little background into that, and we can chat through it together in Discord. If somebody's able to throw the link to the Discord in the chat, that it will be the main kind of way that we'll keep up with each other. We'll have like a forum where we'll put the game forum in there and kind of chat through as we play alongside you guys. So it's gonna be very fun. But yeah, that is our video game book club for now, for the next couple weeks, and we'll keep you updated on like what kind of set points we're gonna have as we continue. But I'm ready to, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to talk about some Life is Strange. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, life's been so strange. Let's make it strange. I've been on a roller coaster of a ride today also, and I just got back from a theme park. So
yeah,
all of us, well, we could discuss that this week because of the announcement. All 3 of us have done some crazy Life is Strange mode stuff. Let's
start there. So Josh, if you'll pull up maybe just the first slide we've got. For just the little intro slide. I made us this little slideshow. You guys know I'm extra, okay?
We love a visual here.
We love a visual. So let's first talk about our Life is Strange journeys up to this point and what we all have binged the last like couple days. Jerica, do you want to start? What had you played previous to when you did your binge, and then what did you just binge?
Like, I've played all the Life is Strange games. I don't think I've missed any of them except Double Exposure, which makes no sense because, like, obviously I'm the biggest fan of Max.
Yeah.
And just why, and I remember you playing it. And it really sucks that you couldn't talk to me about it, because that's all I did today was play through this entire game. Me thinking it was just gonna, I don't know why, like every Life is Strange game collectively has been like, whether it's a single episode, or usually you play them all at once. It's a long game. I didn't get through it today, so I ended up watching cutscenes, but I played most of the day, and I got to chapter 3, like playing through it, just so I can be ready, because it just sort of jumped. Like, obviously I've been on vacation, but when I got home, I started thinking, okay, we're talking about Life is Strange. Oh my God, the reveal teaser has things in it, probably, from what I can tell. I need to finish Double Exposure. I should finish that game to know what's happening. So yeah, I didn't beat it, but I did get halfway done, and I watched all the cutscenes, so I know what happens.
Awesome. That's exciting. Yes, Jerica was literally like, she got back from vacation, and me and Josh were like, "Hey, we have this idea," and she was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." She was like, "Oh shit, I gotta finish double exposure."
Like, I
And
need to
like,
play
I was
it.
like, "Oh no,
I need to play it.
No." But Josh, what about you?
Okay, so I been a big fan of Life is Strange, like when it first came out, the like playing it episodically, even, which is incredible. But I had not played when True Colors came out. I started it and did not finish it. Just no reason. I do this with a lot of games. I just kind of put them off and
I mean, me
don't
too.
finish them.
I get it.
And
It's tough out here.
then Double Exposure I hadn't touched. So when we had this idea, I was like, ooh. So same thing like Jerka. I had to get through True Colors and then immediately started Double Exposure, got through it all. I'm now officially Life is Strange caught up as far as all the games. So
Amazing.
really interesting. And coincidentally, the ones I hadn't played were the Deck 9 ones, which we can talk about in a second. But
Our
and
close
so there's
personal
no
friend, Deck 9.
yeah, there,
They like
yeah,
our
shout
tweet.
out. They liked our tweet.
That was so fun.
Look, I like the Deck 9 ones. It wasn't anything personal. I like your games.
Hmm.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about
Seems
this thing. I like
sus.
them.
We'll talk about it for sure. And if you're listening, you're like, I have no idea what's happening. That's okay. We'll discuss.
Also, real quick, I'm
Yes.
gonna interrupt just for a second, but I just want to shout out Campo63.
Yes.
37,000 months basically subscribed to our channel.
Months.
Thank you so much. Means the world, my dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Even though
That's so nice.
He was with us at Universal.
I know, even though he got you sick, I was gonna say it was kind of mean.
No. He had a whole other issue. I don't know who got me. I think Kayla got me sick.
Yeah,
even
you
through the
probably-
microphone. Like literally, I'm like, you're the only one I've
Computer
been.
virus.
How did you come through my computer to make me sick? I don't know.
I'm feeling better now, finally. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still have a cough. I got bronchitis.
This stuff's rough. I hate it.
It is rough. If you're
What about
sick
you,
out there,
Kayla?
just know we see you. Hi, hello. I am like still fairly new. At this point, no, I think I'm like a professional with Life is Strange. But as of like starting the podcast, I hadn't really played any Life is Strange. Actually, you two both got me into Life is Strange. And then I was obsessed. It's my exact perfect type of game. If you have no idea what it is, essentially it's story based, very narrative focused, essentially all narrative, choice based episodic games for the most part. Usually following a pretty emotional timeline with strong main characters that have some sort of power, like magical realism, some sort of like power, but it's set in like for the most part, set in like a normal world. That's kind of the broad strokes, like gist of the Life is Strange franchise as a whole. But for me, I had played all of them except for Life is Strange 2. And I had started that, what was it, last year, I think? I started it and didn't finish it. And I'll admit, because we're going to go through timeline and stuff in a minute, I'll admit that I was a little intimidated at first by the franchise because there's so many games and they connect in so many different ways. I didn't know how to play them, what was supposed to connect. So hopefully, as we start to talk through it, it can kind of like eliminate some of the like confusion or like hesitant to start. But I finished Life is Strange 2 right before getting on this, and it actually started. This is not a Life is Strange game, but it's made by one of the developers. I started Tell Me Why as well right before this. So I'm feeling very prepared to talk through all the things. And yeah, I think we should maybe go ahead and just start with, this is the way that we kind of have this laid out from a slide perspective is we're going to talk timeline first. So if Josh, you could go to our next slide. I feel like I'm hosting like a work meeting. Next slide.
Next slide, please.
Are either of you super familiar with the actual like in-universe timeline with Life is Strange?
Listen, it's been really fuzzy, and I haven't played all of these games recently. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I played Life is Strange. It's been a while. I played all these games right when they came out, so like and I haven't replayed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I also didn't mention that I just thought about too is every single one of these games has a very, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this, has a strong like LGBTQ theme as well. At least like maybe not necessarily all of them front facing and forward, but a lot of them, or if not all of them, have
It's definitely like
elements.
intertwined into the story,
Right.
the environments, like the lore, like it's built into not be in your face. I like how they sort of just make it a,
It's a
just a
part of
part of that
the world.
experience. It's like, yeah, it's cool. They do it, they make it really natural how it,
It's yeah, the series is known for kind of its emphasis on representing underrepresented communities of various types of communities. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting for it has an indie feel to this series, but it's not an indie game. So that's what's very interesting too. Because a
Yeah.
lot of
That's a really good point.
usually published games, this is considered like double A. A lot of published games by big publishers tend to stay away from really anything that could be controversial by whatever. And so it's very interesting that this is like a published game that has more of a indie feel and deals with like some
Hmm.
heavy topics and heavy issues too.
Yeah, I think maybe before we dive into timeline, maybe we just stay on like themes. Is there anything else, like if you were describing Life is Strange as a franchise to someone who has no idea, like are there any other kind of things that you would use to describe? I would definitely lean into talking about the how beautiful all of them are. Like they have very distinct environments. Um, each individual game I feel like is just so pretty to look at and so like nice to just sit. Like all of them have moments built into the games where you can kind of just like sit and reflect, which I think is really cool. Um, and all of them have a big emphasis on like mental health as well. And I think all of them have pretty good trigger warnings at the beginning as well, or like content warnings. So I don't necessarily think these are games you should just like hop into if you're having a really hard time already, for the
listen,
most part.
I think, for me personally, like it's and Josh will probably agree or have some of this sort of in his share too, but the music and like
Oh
the
gosh,
fact
it's so good.
every time I play a Life is Strange game, even with the first one, like it just teleports me also to just being in high school and like
Yeah.
just that sort of like it just takes you back to being a teenager, a dumb
Hmm.
teenager trying to process like really tough situations. And even, when we were in high school, obviously a lot of this, maybe Kayla, because you're a little bit younger, some of these topics just weren't a thing in my high school. And like
Yeah.
seeing these characters sort of go through some of those things that we knew about but didn't actually interact with personally or talk about with our friends, like it's really cool. And then just like blended with those emotions and those in the soundtracks and like those moments that you brought up, like reflecting, just really give me like such nostalgia for like real
Yeah.
life my real life high school experience. So it's
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that makes a lot of sense. And one thing that I'm really excited about is we have a few people watching that haven't ever played any of the games. And again, we're staying spoiler free right now. But Cater Blossom, welcome in, said, I've never played any of these games, but I really want to. I also think that you would really enjoy these. Like they're very, very good. Like I always leave every one of these games feeling like wow, I can't believe that they talked about this or put this in a game. Like
Yeah.
and some of them are, let's be honest, like, and we'll kind of talk about this too. Some of them are wacky and a little like cheesy at
I
times
feel like
or
it's
like
definitely campy. Like,
Hallmarky. Yeah.
sometimes.
I think, but they
They
drizzle
can
a little,
be.
but I think it feels that way because I think a lot of the dialogue is stuff I would say if I was still in high school. And maybe that's sort of like
Yeah.
why it's a little like jarring at times because we are just like, I'm not that kid anymore. But teenage
That's
Jerica
true.
probably would have had some dialogue like
Yeah,
that.
for
I
the
know I
for
did.
the for the games where they're a little younger, for sure. Like some of the other ones where they're a little older, like Double Exposure or even True Colors, the performances are just excellent. There's less campy stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a few moments, but for the most part, like
Each
they're really good.
each game like had its own type of vibe for
Yes.
sure. Like it
Yes.
was like the same DNA, but each game like had a different type of like energy. Like this was
Hmm.
Life is Strange 2 was way more
Yeah,
serious to me than the first
Yes.
game.
for
The first
sure.
game set like a murder mystery situation, had twists and
Yeah.
turns and obviously some drama, but like Life is Strange 2 like hit some real life topics that I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting. So
Especially right now, if you play it right
yeah.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's very intense, but I think like one thing I want to do more of is listen to maybe some more like dev interviews with the two different
Yeah,
teams that own these. And like I don't really know a ton about like their what they obviously I can see what they're trying to put across, but I would like to hear more. Are there a lot of those online, Josh or
there's
Jericho?
a
Do you
ton,
know?
and I got
Yeah.
into hyperfixation with this around when Lost Records came out, so I
Yeah.
started like researching
Oh
it more
yeah.
around then, which I think we're gonna talk about a little bit
Yeah, for
somewhere.
sure. And then coal mines mentioned interpersonal challenges is always a big part of them. Yes, like some sort of like event either in their life, like a formative event has happened. And like Jericho mentioned, I feel like all of them generally have like a mystery going on as
Yeah,
well. I feel like not all of them are super mystery as the fore focus of the story, but at least there's like an
I
element
think
of that in there.
this is what I wanted to describe. If I was going to describe this, I'm like, this is kind of an idea of this episode. We're kind of pitching. There's a lot of people in here who
Yeah,
haven't
we're
played
pitching this to you. Yeah.
Cater Blossom, and some others haven't. Travman Man hasn't played it. So, like, if we're starting a blank slate, you don't know what this is. Essentially, the series, um, each game, there's some crossover, and some of the games have repeat characters, but for the most part, it's kind of a different scenario, different characters. And usually there's, for some reason, essentially the characters have some kind of mystical or paranormal superpower, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's not like a normal thing. It would be really
Right.
abnormal. It's not like X-Men or Marvel where like everyone's running around with powers.
Yeah.
They might be the only one that they know of that has a power. So they don't know why they're like that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is having whatever that power is isn't really the focus of what's going on. Like how Caleb mentioned that there's some other mysteries and stuff, but it just ties in. Like they put them in these scenarios where they're having to address some type of either trauma or some kind of relational thing or like whatever. And they're having to discover things about themselves and figure out
Hmm.
like their place in where, if it's their town or the world or like whatever it is. And they're just trying to navigate kind of growing into themselves. So I think it's a little bit complicated to describe it like that. But if you ever played a Telltale game, the format is a little bit like that, where you, or Mass Effect or Knights of the Old Republic, where you choose dialogue options, and those dialogue options can have an effect later. And usually there's some light puzzles where you might have to like look for a key to unlock something, or
There
look
will
for,
be
you know,
consequences.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's consequences to some of your actions. Some of your
Right.
choices kind of have long-standing, consequences.
It's
Yeah. And
fun.
that's
They all have
it's so good.
superpowers too.
Yeah.
And like,
And one
oh,
oh, you go, Jericho.
later. No, I'm not gonna get to this right now, but later we're gonna get to a convo. After finishing
We'll talk about more specifically. Yeah.
double exposure,
Yeah.
I'm all ready. I'm seated. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm
Her
seated.
roll's buttered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to leave you on as far as like the big themes is in this if we haven't sold you so far, just think about it this way. There's a couple of decisions that you make throughout this series that are throughout multiple games have like long-term effects to how the game goes based on the choices that you made in the beginning. And that is what really intrigued me at first, like was that premise of like I really always loved the choose your own adventure like stories. So that's one thing that I'll leave you. Obviously not going to tell you what they are, but just know that there are some.
I can't
Um,
remember what. Not to derail us, but just real quick, like they're making a. Is there a show or a movie like in the works? Like I feel like every
um,
game I'm playing is like gonna be a show or a movie these days. But I feel like there was an
I thought I
announcement. Of,
heard
like,
something about that too.
anyways,
I remember we
continue.
talked about it last
I'll look it
year, I
up.
think.
Life is
I know
Strange
that
show.
there's at least
Okay. Oh, it
there's
makes
the
me feel
graphic
better.
novels.
I feel a little bit better. Like so far, I feel really good about Amazon like owning video game TV shows with Fallout, like killing it. I haven't
Yeah.
watched season 2, but I'm also hearing like season 2 of Fallout is incredible. So yes, live action Life is Strange TV show has been
Yeah.
officially greenlit at Prime Video.
Very
So that's gonna be cool. Oh, Charlie Koval, The End of the Fucking World. I don't know if you watched that. That was really good. I wish there was more
I
of
feel
that.
like
Yeah,
I briefly remember,
yeah.
I think. Well, now that we've kind of pitched it as a whole to you, let's talk a little bit about the timeline. So we're going to go into each individual game and like the release year in a couple of the next slides. But what you're looking at now, if you're watching the VOD version, and I'll talk about it out loud if you're listening to the fact after the fact. But the way that the games are, I personally recommend just playing them in release order,
Yeah.
just because like that's how it's intended to be played, but because that's how the devs related, like, rolled them out. But this is how timeline wise you're looking at, and this does not include like DLC necessarily.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DLC in Life is Strange, which I haven't necessarily played every single piece of DLC, but I've played all of the primary games. So you've got Life is Strange Before the Storm, which was the takes place in 2010, so 3 years before the events of the first Life is Strange game, which was the first one released. And then shortly after, you have Life is Strange 2, which I actually didn't realize that the kind of like, what would you consider Captain Spirit? It's a game, but it's kind of like a novella,
yeah, it's a short
version of a game.
They actually released it for free.
It's like a demo, I think, technically.
When Life is Strange 2 was announced at like E3 or whatever, the creator was like, hey, we're announcing Life is Strange 2. It's going to take a while, but we have this other little thing that we're going to release for free just as a thank you, like, for waiting for it. So they released Captain Spirit as just a free little preview, but it does tie into and take place during Life is Strange 2.
Yeah. So essentially, timeline wise, what happens is the first episode of Life is Strange 2, because again, these are releasing like on a weekly or monthly basis,
Monthly
depending
or
on the
bi-monthly
game.
or whatever.
Yeah, so not all of these games were like ready to play at once, which is also very interesting. And I've only recently gotten to experience that with the games. Some of them were, and I think that's something we can talk about later. Like, I'm curious what you guys think, like, which is the better experience, and maybe why they chose with some of the games to not do that. It's interesting. So then Captain Spirit kind of released right after, or it takes place rather right after that first episode, because some of the events kind of cross through each other. Jerica, did you play Captain Spirit?
I did.
You did? Okay. And then True Colors takes place after that, a little bit of a jump, and then you have the Double Exposure, the most recent as of right now release, which takes place a whole 10 years after the original game. So Max is a lot more grown up, and we'll talk more about it in a little bit. If you go to the next slide.
I was like
Let's
engrossed, I'm engrossed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah,
And then
slides.
I have not prepared like quick summaries of these games,
Yeah,
so I
no.
might not need y'all's help.
Yeah.
But for the most part, so this is the first game release-wise, came out in 2015. So now we're in like real time, like how they're releasing. It was released from Don't Nod in 5 episodes, and each episode kind of has a cliffhanger at the end. And I did not play this as it was coming out. Did either of you play this one like when it released?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Incredible. Waiting, man. We're not doing spoilers, but some of these cliffhangers on these chapters were like, at the end of like a season of a TV show where you're like shocked. Some of these are just insane where you're like, oh my gosh, and you got to wait, 2 months or whatever for the next one to come out.
Yeah. Jerica, do you remember like having to wait?
I did for 2. I take that back because I actually played.
No
Life is
spoilers. Aaron needs
Strange
to.
after,
Sorry, they're in
yeah.
chat. They're asking. Yeah, we're not doing
No
spoilers right now
spoilers, no
because we're
spoilers.
pitching this to people who've never played Life is Strange. So we're not going to talk about any spoilers for any of these games.
Broad stroke
we might
story.
at the end. We might at the end, but we'll tell you.
Please, can we talk about something at the very end, please, God?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Or just off
Very
live.
end.
I
Into
need
the
to
show.
talk to y'all about something.
Into the show.
Yes. Which should also sell y'all on it. I'm interested in something, so that could get announced tomorrow. Anyways, I played Life is Strange 1 when they all came out because I think I just finally heard that like this is awesome. This was such a cool experience. The story's awesome. Let me dive in and see what this is about. Loved it. And then from there on out, like I was a Life is Strange fan. So like Life is Strange 2, I remember when that finally came out, played those as they were releasing. And I remember like playing through those and Josh, me and you talking about it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like having to wait. I also like playing it all at once is nice too. But
yeah. One thing that this one was again one that obviously this was my first one that I played, but it was long after release. Was it immediately a pretty popular franchise, or like did it take off pretty quickly, or do you feel like it took a minute for people to get on board, or were pretty much everyone in gaming space is talking about this
it took off pretty quick. Like, just because like the uniqueness of it, again, like I said, it's not technically an indie game, but it feels like an indie game. And so just this one has such good vibes. So well, you probably talk about the premise a little bit, but
Yeah. Are we okay with mentioning the power? I feel like that her power is pretty
I think you
quickly
can talk about just
revealed.
what the premise of it, it's like a back of
Yeah.
the box kind of thing. We're not talking
Right,
spoilers, but
exactly. So essentially, you are playing as Max, who is a photography student. And she is essentially, is it an academy that because
it's
she's technically still in
a
high school.
it
It's
is
like
a high
a,
Yeah.
school it's a high school that's like private. So it's very
right.
expensive high school.
Yeah. And so
It's
she's a
like a
photography
college,
student.
but it's a high school.
So that's why, like, honestly, another theme you'll see all throughout these games is like photography and like
Mhm.
photos, things like that. So she discovers that she can rewind time. And she's reunited with her old friend Chloe. I feel like me, even before I played any of these games, like, I feel like Max and Chloe are like
Yeah,
iconic. Like, you
they
can
are
kind of
kind of
like
like
tell them.
the mascots, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even just like of the franchise in general. Essentially she is, with her and Chloe uncovering mysteries in their hometown of Arcadia Bay, which is based in like Arcadia Bay is not a real place, but it's
Right.
like Pacific Northwest, like
It's like
think that
it's
kind
like
of.
Forks. It's like
Yeah.
Twilight. Yeah. It has that
um,
vibe.
so a couple of the things that like are happening is there's a missing student. There is like impending disaster, and with every choice, you have like significant consequences. And like Jerica kind of alluded to earlier, you get this like ominous in the bottom corner, like this action will have consequences,
Yeah.
and it's always like, oh.
Oh.
And honestly, like one thing I think that you can tell pretty early from these games is like you don't necessarily know what the right answer is. And there's not really like a right or a wrong sometimes answer. It's just really based on like you and your choices that you're making with your character. I personally usually try to play from the aspect of like what would Max do in this scenario, not necessarily like what I would do. Sometimes I like to be a little chaotic and just, let it flow. I feel like we've talked about that before. Uh but yeah, so essentially, this one summarizes like a coming of age story about friendship, difficult choices, and the butterfly effect, set in moody Pacific Northwest. So I think that that's a good way to describe, especially this first one, is like what does happen when you make some of those like big decisions and leading like with your heart versus like logic. A lot
Mhm.
of like really big kind of like coming of age moments too, and there's corruption, there's
Ugh.
like all sorts of, there's so many side characters and plots, like it's not just like as simple as like young girl out of school trying to
Yeah.
just make it, like there's so much intertwined like big life things happening.
And I feel like the
um
game does a really good job of like making you care about
yes.
most
Yeah.
of the characters, including like even the characters that have smaller parts to play. Like there's some smaller characters that had moments that were just so good. They literally got their own DLC. And
That's true.
their, contribution was really small at the beginning, but that's just all the characters are just really well written.
Yes.
One thing I want to jump off of, like something Jerica mentioned earlier when we were talking about the series, and this will apply to the whole series too. When she mentioned the music, this one has a
Hmm.
great soundtrack, and the
That's
thing
so
is,
good.
so it has like the games, at least this game in particular, of course, too. There's like a composer that composes like a lot of the original tracks that are just have incredible vibes, but the licensed tracks are really good and just make it feel so like real music, like Kay was saying, music plays such a big part in it too. Like a lot of them are like in bands or just fans of music, they listen to music, talk about music. And one thing, when Lost Records came out and I was reading a lot of past interviews, um the creators of Life is Strange and Lost Records, they have a very almost Kojima style fixation on like music and how it integrates in the games. So they talk about that. Like with Lost Records, they were like really looking at certain bands, like write certain kind of songs and like really like micromanaging that to like a very high level Kojima style, so yeah, it
Yeah.
shows too, it shows.
I need to have all of does it Josh, do you have any of the soundtracks on vinyl?
No, I do
Or
not
Jericho?
actually.
I feel like I need
I
at
know
least
we do.
one.
Probably at least the first one. We
I
have
probably need
something.
Yeah.
this person too, it's good.
I feel like that would be fun to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the second game, but the prequel, which is Life is Strange Before the Storm. I would argue that this one is probably the most angsty of the series. What do you
Yeah,
Oh
guys
it
think?
yes.
definitely
Oh
is.
Yeah.
It
yes.
is.
Yeah. So this one as like a whole, and I know like this one's shorter because again it's a prequel, and this one has a bit of DLC that I feel like is really important. It's called Farewell, and the DLC, I don't think you can actually play it until you finish Before the Storm, I think.
Correct. That's correct.
But that specific DLC is the earliest gameplay that we have of Chloe and Max
Yeah.
together. Them as children, because they've been friends for like a long
Correct.
time. They're like childhood friends.
Yes.
But Before the Storm is actually mainly following you're playing as Chloe. And so Life is Strange Before the Storm is a prequel exploring the formative friendship between rebellious teen Chloe Price
Yeah.
and her
Uh-oh.
popular,
Yeah.
perfect friend Rachel Amber in Arcadia Bay, and it really focuses on like their bond and kind of the parallels that they have with each other and their individual personal struggles, family secrets, Chloe's grief after losing her dad. That's again not really a spoiler. It's kind of like the prefaces of a lot of her character. Um, that's kind of like broad stroke summary. Anybody else have any? This one also will note
go
that
ahead.
this one came out in 2017. Sorry, this one came out in 2017, and this one also is from Deck 9 and not
Yeah.
from Don't Nod.
Correct.
And it was only 3 episodes. But
So
Josh,
one thing I would say after like kind of playing all these and reassessing and thinking of things, normally I am a big proponent of playing things in chronological order or watching movies in
yeah,
chronological order, which you still absolutely should play Life is Strange, the first game first. But I do think if you really enjoy Life is Strange, you could jump immediately into this
that's a good
prequel
point. Yeah,
next instead of like playing Life is Strange 2 first or whatever. You know, a little messy. There's no real, it doesn't really hurt anything by doing it like that. So I think if you enjoy Life is Strange, I would just say, you know, go ahead and jump into Before the Storm next. It's good. It really gives you some more context to what you just played in Life is Strange.
yeah. Did you want to? Should we use this time since we like Trapman Man had a good question? Didn't realize the series was taken
Okay.
from Donut
Yeah,
immediately.
we can do this
Maybe
quick.
we kind of use this as like a because I actually don't really understand
All
either,
right.
and we actually have some back and forth for the chat. Like it's
Yeah.
not as linear as like okay now it's Deck 9. Like there's back and forth. But
So
Josh, do you want to give a quick explanation?
we'll do a little quick version, which is Don't Nod. The people, the founders of Don't Nod, and Trav Man mentioned Remember Me. They did some games like they did that for Capcom. They did some other games, but this game is one of their passion projects. They want to do Life is Strange, and Square, they needed some funding and, you know, employees and everything. Square Enix decided that they would help them publish Life is Strange, and so they went for it, and it became a big hit. You know, all that kind of stuff. Now, Life is Strange 2 hit some production problems. There was a lot of production problems. In fact, they were supposed to have like, it was episodic. They were supposed to have like episodes coming out around Christmas, and it wasn't until like March. So it was like delays, huge delays. We don't know the exact behind the scenes, but you can kind of imagine sometimes when you have a publisher and investor, there's certain pressure to achieve certain deadlines, maybe even have certain content or not have certain content, you know, editorial kind of stuff. Don't Nod has not disparaged anyone involved in this. They are all on good terms, allegedly. But it just seems like from what they're saying is they wanted to just, they're more of a passion kind of studio. So they wanted to create things on their own terms and their own passions. And so after they did Life is Strange 1, they did Life is Strange 2, and they did Captain Spirit. And after that, at the same time, they did assist with Deck 9, which is a Colorado based studio. Square Enix basically was like, let's pump out more of these, right? And it was just beyond Don't Nod's capacity. So Deck 9 started making Before the Storm. And what ends up happening is Don't Nod just essentially leaves out of Square's umbrella and starts their own. They actually have their own little publishing company now.
And I love a
And
lot of their games.
yeah, they're really good. And they've now kind of went on their own ways. And at this point, they've released last year a game called Lost Records Bloom and Rage. And that's kind of
Oh,
the spiritual successor to Life is Strange. They do not own the Life is Strange IP. And so they still wanted to explore similar themes. And so they created Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is like a debranded Life is Strange, essentially. It's
you
like
could
starting
honestly
over.
you could tell
Yeah.
someone that
If it was called
it's
Life is
yeah.
Strange, you would just think it was. So if you end up liking this
Yes.
series, check that out. But
Yes.
Don't Nod is now the or sorry, Deck Nine is now the official Life is Strange developer from this point forward. So they did Before the Storm, and then they got to do True Colors, and they did Double Exposure, and now there's an announcement tomorrow of a new one, which I mean, from what we know, is Deck Nine will be Deck Nine as well.
Yeah. That's a good summary, I think.
That's the summary.
Thank you, Josh. Jerica, did you have any other thoughts about Before the Storm? For spoiler free, of course.
No, it's great. Sorry, I had to walk away because I had a really bad itch in my throat, and I finally figured out how to mute my mic. So
Okay.
if I have a coughing fit, you won't hear me, or if I go to the bathroom and flush, you won't hear that anymore.
Bummer.
Dang.
I know. No, it's really good. I thought I wouldn't enjoy this. I'm usually not a big prequel person. Like usually it turns me off. I'm like, I don't know if I really want more of stuff I already know. Obviously, it's stuff you want to know more about.
Yeah.
It hooked me a lot more than I thought it would, and definitely worth your time.
I will
It's
say
not redundant, really. Like I feel like it adds a lot of good additional content.
I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. So.
Even though this was Deck Nine, this was their first stab at a Life is Strange game. I will say I don't want to get his name wrong, but the main guy who kind of took this on, he actually did work because basically he's a Square Enix employee, and then he moved on to help with Deck Nine. But they when Square Enix helped fund and do stuff with Life is Strange 1, they sent some people over to do certain support roles. And so the guy who did Before the Storm actually helped some of the mechanics in Life is Strange. Like he did some of the like Max's powers and stuff. So he had a good understanding of like the game. So it wasn't like just like a random outsider. So this is someone who was involved in the production of Life is Strange 1, kind of doing Before the Storm.
All right, let's move on to our next
Coal Mine
game.
said, no spoiler, but Coal Mine says last scene of this game was amazing. My favorite end to one of these games. It is wild. The last literal
It's crazy.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It's wild.
Okay.
All right, next game we have The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which came out in 2018, and this was Don't Nod, actually, again. So we have a little bit of back and forth here, and I did do some reading that like it almost was kind of used as like a teaser for Life is Strange 2. But there are some like direct kind of tie-ins, which again we won't discuss right now. But I would argue that this is the most devastating.
It is pretty brutal. I think because it's so short, so they just have to go ahead and hit you with it. They kind of blindside you with
it.
It is wild.
Tribe Man said, fascinating stuff. Wonder if Square Enix got the rights with the publishing of the first game.
Yeah, from what I understand, they Don't Nod. From what I understand, don't quote me, but I think they actually sold it to them so that they could start their studio. So that's what it wasn't like it was taken away from them. It was their decision, essentially. Because it was they just wanted to make their own little publishing studio. They need a lot of money. So I believe they sold it to them.
Now, this game follows our youngest protagonist out of any of the games. And you are following 10-year-old Chris, who escapes his difficult, to say the least, home life by pretending to be a superhero, Captain Spirit. It is incredibly wholesome at times. But very clearly and early on, you can tell there's like some really rough stuff going on in his life. You'll be fighting imaginary villains like the Snowmancer while dealing with your struggling alcoholic father in Oregon, again, Pacific Northwest, and your choices impact later games as well. So this one, his power, I would say, is described more as like telekinetic, I guess is what you would say.
Right, it's kind of imagination, but they do play on this.
You could go either way. Like it could be real, it could be not. Like.
Yeah. First time chatter, Jacob Lawson says, Don't Nod didn't want to only be known for Life is Strange. Yeah, exactly. They want to do explore things. They do make other games, and they're publishing other games as well. And so it's cool. I really like Don't Nod a lot as a company and their founders and everything. Really cool.
Hey, thanks for popping in also. Yeah, this one wrecked me emotionally. And again, we're not doing any spoilers, but it's very short. I think it's only like maybe 2 hours.
Does it's short.
Right? I forgot to put
so
runtime.
It gets right to it.
Any other major thoughts on this one before
I think,
we
like you
keep
said, the
going?
powers in this one, it ends up being like because it really zooms into like his imagination. Like
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's really childlike, like him imagining, and you get like
through his
cinematics and
eyes.
like whatever. And so a lot of the game kind of plays on this like, well, is this powers? Is this just his imagination? Kind of back and forth
Yeah,
thing. So
because you're really like
it's
through
cool.
his eyes kind of
Yeah.
thing. Which we kind of forgot to mention that like it's the way that these games are. It's third person, right? All of them are third person, like
Yes.
over the
Mhm.
shoulder kind of like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and I all of them too. What I really like is you really have the chance to like be in your environment, and there's so many things you can look at. And this was kind of the first game I really experienced this with. Like sometimes even if you choose to not look at some things or like investigate some things, you can not have as many choices. So it really rewards you for exploring the game because you'll get like different pieces. Hello, my name is Kayla. I'm here to admit that I'm a mainliner when it comes to
Mm.
games for the most part. And these games really do reward you for not doing that and like researching, like looking through all the papers on the desk, opening the drawers and looking through the cupboards. Like you could go without doing that and be fine, but if you do it, then you get to kind of experience like a whole other like underneath layer of the games. Um, but yeah, Jerica, did you have any other thoughts on this one?
Nope.
No.
Not without
Well,
spoiling stuff. So
Not
yeah,
let's
yet.
that's
keep
true.
going.
All right, next game we have Life is Strange 2, which I am fresh off of,
Yeah, you just beat it before the
and
stream.
literally right before this.
Yeah.
This one followed while it is like named Life is Strange 2 and seemingly a direct sequel, it follows two new main characters, Sean and Daniel. And this is also like Josh, I think you said this is the longest one, right?
It does seem to be the longest one. Yes.
I think that checks out from the way that like I played it. But this one came out in 2018 and it is from Don't Nod again. So we go back to Don't Nod, kind of like back and forth. Or no, Captain Spirit was Don't Nod as well.
This is their
Um,
last one though.
this is the
Yeah.
last one. Okay.
Yeah.
Life is Strange 2 follows Mexican American brothers Sean and Daniel. Sean is 16 and Daniel is 9. As they flee their home in Seattle after a tragic incident involving a police officer, which awakens Daniel's latent telekinetic powers. So the younger brother is who has the power here, and you are following them as they are just like absolutely struggling to flee after a pretty horrific accident and series of events that happen. So they're on the run and essentially on like a road trip towards Mexico. And there's a lot that happens between point A and point B. And this one, like, I feel like it's really hard to talk about this one without like spoiling anything. But did anybody else have any other thoughts on this one, like high level?
I think this is a good explanation for like, hey, each game definitely has its own type of narrative. And
Yeah.
obviously, with the ones we've experienced already, we sort of come to expect some tough conversations with our characters to have with like other characters. And, you know, it's not always happy, it's sometimes devastating. I feel like this one has a way more grounded in reality story, even though there's
Yeah.
supernatural elements. But this one, like, I didn't think I would care about these boys as much as I did, but I ended up caring about them just as much as like Chloe and
Yeah.
Max. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's a good new story with new characters. So
That's a great point because this one is overlooked a lot because again, Chloe and Max seem to be kind of like the mascots of the series. So a lot of people were initially like, "Where's Chloe and Max?" Me too, probably a little bit. Jericho too, probably a
oh,
little bit.
absolutely.
But you got to give it a chance because this one has some of the most emotionally intense interpersonal things of like any of the games in the series, especially since like without spoiling it, but you have this big brother little brother dynamic and you're playing as a big
Yeah.
brother and you're constantly worried how you're influencing your little brother like the entire time. Everything you say, every decision, and not every decision is like so obvious, like kill this person, don't kill it. It's not like that, but it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like you're making the wrong choice no matter what you make, and you're kind of like being a bad older brother or like a bad
Yeah.
influence. It's really interesting. There's not really any game that evokes some of these questions and feelings that I've ever played.
I agree. And I think like what you said hits the nail on the head as far as like this one, you're not only like making games or not making choices that directly impact you in your game, it's like directly impacting this other like human that's in your like possession at this time. Like you really are taking more of like a fatherly role to him. And I think there's a couple of the games in this series that followed like sibling dynamics. I feel like that's
Yeah.
also like a pretty big theme. Um, One thing I wanted to mention that we didn't mention earlier with the franchise is there very much is like the little decisions, but there's also like will be these pauses where you can tell it's like a big decision that you're making. And so like the screen will stop and you'll have like two, for the most part, typically choices that you can tell are like pivotal. And sometimes they're timed too, where you
Yeah.
have to like hurry. And
Sometimes.
sometimes the little ones are timed too. Uh, yeah, but definitely some intense decisions in this one for sure. That's good to know too. I really was curious like at the time if the reaction of the general public was like, "Oh, I wish we had Chloe Max again."
Yeah. This one was weird because of that and the delays. So it really takes when you're
Yeah.
doing episodic, and man, it's hard if it's delayed, people stop caring or they put it down, you know? And
Yeah.
so it's like this one kind of lost a lot of steam,
Mhm.
I feel
unfortunately.
like it took a long time between, it was just a long time, but in between episodes, I remember waiting and just being like, man, that's where it always comes back to like, it doesn't hurt it having multiple episodes like this, but I think
Mhm.
it can be done right if they're multiple episodes coming out like every week or every
Mhm.
couple of weeks.
Well,
And I think that's why
like
Dispatch,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dispatch, like, I think, everything's just fighting for your attention. So like now, especially like with a year like we're about to have in year last year, like this would have got lost in the sauce if it was taking 3 to 4 months for every episode. I think even, um, why am I blanking? Blood and Rage. God help
Bloom
me.
and
Bloomin'
Rage.
Rage.
Bloom and Rage.
Close.
Bloom
Sort
and
of,
Onion.
it wasn't, it was a couple months, right? It wasn't just, it was supposed to be a month and it got, I think it got delayed too, but
It
like,
also did, but the whole thing did. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
ended up being something I think that ended up hurting it too because there's too many other games to play. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to put on the screen, but this one was 5 episodes. If that helps anyone understand. But one thing I want to mention, Coal Mine, I was going to read Coal Mines
Yeah,
too,
go
because
ahead.
I've always been curious. Coal Mines has like told us that he doesn't like this one, which I find that very like difficult to understand because I just played it and it's incredible in my opinion. But Coal Mine says that they didn't like the sibling dynamics in this one. They slotted the characters into little brother who rebels against older brother slot, I guess like trope. And it makes a lot of annoying scenarios.
I
It
think
took
for
me out of
me,
emotional moments.
like that's a really good point, and I could see where that gets annoying. But for me personally, like I didn't get that. I could see why
Yeah.
though, because
Yeah, I
I
I
don't
agree.
can
have
see that.
listen, but I don't have any siblings, and
Yeah.
I'm also like not. I don't know. I've never been a big brother, so it was really. I think I grasped that game so like into it. I was into it so hard because it was very
Mm,
interesting for me to be in this kid's shoes. As
Mhm.
me personally, I've never thought about. I'm an only child, so like I've never had those thoughts, and like
that's a good point.
Mm.
him having to act as like an adult in this situation was really interesting to me. So I think that's why
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like it's actually, I probably put Life is Strange 1 as like my favorite game so far, and 2 like right behind it.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's a good point. And a lot of these games, again, because we mentioned they focus on different experiences and different, telling different kinds of stories. So, it does have the sibling dynamic too, but it also has kind of the Mexican American aspect, and there's
Mhm.
stuff obviously that plays in that with the story. So it gives you a good perspective, just playing
Ooh.
different kind of things. Oh, I
Yes.
just
So
mentioned
Cater
this.
Yes. So Cater Blossom asked,
Yes,
do they
yes,
touch
they
on
do.
Mexican American culture and family dynamics in this one? Yes.
And
Because they're yeah.
societal, and it's very. If this was made in 2018, but there's stuff that is relevant to today, 2026 too. So,
Did you almost say
um,
2024?
yeah, I'm saying
well,
2025.
it's all if it all feels
It's all the
like the
same.
2020s have all been
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
fucking year to me. I
So
don't know.
Yeah,
it
that's
there's
fair.
some. It does address a lot, or it touches on a lot of aspects with that.
Yeah, like I would say yes. I mean, as someone who's not a part of the community, I don't have like direct experience to tell like how realistic it is, but I do know
Well,
that like it definitely is there.
and it's not a spoiler, but they are technically mixed. Their mom is white, I believe, and so
Hmm.
they're kind of navigating that and reconnecting with certain parts of their culture and
Biracial
stuff. It's
too,
very
yeah.
interesting.
It's such a good
Mhm.
one. Don't let, yeah.
It's
I think
good.
to the point, like, yeah, I don't think this one gets talked about enough. Trap Man says
Yeah.
it's a series he's heard least about, and I think that's very true. But it's definitely, it's up there. It's one of those. There's moments from that game I still remember. And y'all know I have a horrible memory. It was really good. I love that game.
Oh, Kidder Blossom says, I'm Mexican American and curious how I would feel about it. Definitely more eager to play now. You could just play this one if you wanted to.
Have
If
some
you wanted to
tissues
start
ready.
with this one,
Have some
you
tissues
could.
ready.
Yeah, it's
Oh
sad.
god,
Yeah, it's
but it's
tough.
good. It's good.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Again, since this is a different setting than the first one, different characters, there's some cameos and stuff. The things
Yeah,
tie in
that's
loosely,
true.
but you don't, it's kind of okay. Like you could play this one first.
Absolutely.
You could, yeah.
Hey,
But
here
it
on
was,
JK
it would
Games,
be fun.
do you need to play Life is Strange 1 before playing Life is
No,
Strange 2?
no. You might want to play
Liz
Life is
clipping
Strange
this as we
1.
speak.
You better play Life is Strange 1 before you play Before the Storm. I would
Yes.
say that would be a better experience. That's maybe the only time I'll ever say that. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
Correct.
think that,
Correct.
yes, that's the only one that definitively, as of right
Correct.
now. And then you don't want to play double exposure.
Correct. That's the other
Oh,
one.
before
true.
you
Yeah,
play-
definitely.
You could play True Colors or Life is Strange 2 or Life is Strange 1 first, either of those.
Yes. Which, speaking of True Colors, let's talk about that one.
Segue.
Moving on. This is the first one I ever played, actually. I started with this one. It came out kind of like, we were big and like kind of just started the podcast stuff. I was wanting to jump on the hype train. I say just started. We had started many years before this, actually. But like it was just the first one that like it was released while we were doing the podcast, I guess I should say.
I think a funny thing about this, just real quick, this is Deck Nine's first like full Life is Strange game, besides doing Before the Storm, but also because Kayla as a person is just such a empathetic person. As soon as this got announced, I think everyone who's like was like, Kayla, you got to play this. Kayla, you got to play this, because of the game, which you can kind of talk about.
Yeah, so essentially, summary of this one, Life is Strange True Colors follows Alex Chen, a young woman with a troubled past in foster care, as she moves to the picturesque mining town of Haven Springs, Colorado. This one a little bit of a different setting, probably I would say arguably the most beautiful game.
Deck Nine is based out
of
of Colorado, by the way, so I think this is
Yeah.
just them being like, leaning into it.
Oh, I need to not forget to talk about some we had listener submitted predictions.
Okay.
We also had one thing I wanted to mention really quick from French Dip Design, which if you don't know French Dip, he does all of most of our logo stuff too. Jerica kind of has done some of it also, but inspired all of our logo stuff. And he said, I played True Colors a few months before we started to look for homes in Colorado, and it solidified my love for the state. An incredible
cool.
gaming experience. So True
Wow.
Colors kind of inspired him to live in Colorado.
The
So
vibe,
I just,
yeah, the aesthetic.
before
It's
I
great.
forgot, I had to mention that.
It definitely made me want to take another trip out there after I played. Like I started looking up Airbnbs. Like, is it Telluride? Out in
Telluride.
Telluride.
What?
That little town.
I
It's
know you're
definitely
talking about
based on that town. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
downtown area of True Colors. Like really, I want to go to that little town and walk around.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
It's very immersive. I think that this probably was the first one in the series that you can kind of walk around like different shops, like the whole like street area is interactive, because you can't really do that in the other ones leading
A lot
up
of
to
the
this,
games
right?
have the different settings or set
More
pieces,
linear.
but this one does have more of like a little town, which is cute.
Yeah. It's still linear, like the game experience, but I feel like if I remember correctly, you could kind of like walk in and out of
Yeah.
different shops.
It was like one of the most open sort
Yeah.
of open world, open town esque.
Open town.
It was a.
It's
I
opened up.
I
like-
like
Yeah,
that
I
was
like
a
that
that
too.
was a perk of the game for sure. This definitely wasn't my favorite for some reason. I didn't, and I don't think it was anything to do with like the capabilities of the game or the story. I just didn't latch on to that character, Alex, as much as like the other ones. Just to like coal mines, sort of like not feeling Life is Strange 2. I think that's how I felt with this one.
Yeah. We actually reviewed this one with our friend of the show, Cody. We did a whole long
That's
episode
right.
with him reviewing this a few years ago. But essentially the main kind of plot point device of this one is you're reuniting with your long lost brother, Gabe. So like we said, Alex was in foster care, so she did not grow up with her brother. majority of her like adolescence, and she's kind of creating a fresh start for herself, like starting over in this town. She actually possesses a supernatural ability, like Josh alluded to earlier, of empathetic, empathetic.
Just
Empathy.
feeling people's emotions. Maybe that's why I didn't
Yeah.
like it. I don't, I'm also feel that way. I'm like, this is too much of like real life. I don't want to feel everyone's sadness. It makes me
Yeah.
sad or anger.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I get that. Also, I think I missed earlier. Shout out to Trav Man with the sub earlier. Totally missed that. Thank you so much, and welcome Samson and Blaster Goblin into the
Wow.
chat.
Oh,
Uh,
Blaster
he's
Goblin's in
arrived.
here. The troublemaker.
Jerka.
Nope.
Yeah.
Fancy Nancy said there is a good band named Telluride that played in Birmingham a lot.
Oh
There you
hell yeah.
go.
I'd like to go see them. I
There
bet
you go.
that I bet they play music that sounds like that little town, just
Maybe.
like cozy.
Little town. Sorry. So essentially the Alex, her ability is she's able to sense and absorb others' strong emotions, which she usually keeps hidden, but a tragic event thrusts her into a mystery, forcing her to use the power to uncover secrets and fight for justice in the community that she's in. The game has a story of healing, connection, found family, and finding hope amidst grief and trauma, with players making choices that shape Alex's relationships and the fate of the town. A lot of these games usually have pretty high stakes, and I would say they're definitely the same for this one. This one, I think, like, because of the way that her power is described, and this one being like my first game, it still like holds a really special place in my heart. It's pretty high up there in my like ranking. Um, and anybody who's joining, also, we are still doing spoiler free stuff, so don't worry. And try to stay spoiler free in the chat too. But anybody else have any other thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I started this in 2021 when it came out. I'm like, Life is Strange, let's go. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just something, I just set it down and other things came out. Maybe I didn't pick it back up until this week because I was like, oh, I gotta play it before the new announcement. So I went ahead and finished it, and I did. I really liked
Yeah.
it. I liked it a lot. I think Samson says also, yeah, a bit lame because empathy is just a real life thing. I do
Uh,
agree. You know, I think some of the power mechanics I wish like I had a little more agency as a player with
yeah.
in this one, but I really liked the actor's performance who played Alex. The performance in this game is incredible. There's some really good moments. Again, this is like a lot of introspective stuff with her. I'm not going to spoil her story, but it's a really interesting look at acceptance and moving somewhere where you're trying to fit in and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
the power is it's still pretty cool, and to see how it affects her. It's like giving you a visual representation to someone who's like hyper aware. And there's some
Mm-hmm.
other scenes without spoiling again, but like there's a few times where when she connects with someone like at an empath level, it kind of changes the scene around her,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like lets her perceive things the way they perceive things, and that's kind of interesting too. Needed a little more of that,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's cool.
I
There's
agree. I
like,
think this one's a little, they could have done a little bit more with the
Yeah.
power. What were you gonna say, Jerka?
oh man, what is her name? Katie, Kate, whoever the other girl is. I can't remember her name because Steph.
Steph?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's a returning character. She
Yeah,
is
yeah.
from
Yeah.
Life is Strange.
Yes.
One in that
Before the
situation.
storm. Yeah.
Chloe and Max like went to school
Yeah.
with them and stuff.
Mhm.
Also very cool that a lot of the characters intertwined in some ways.
Mhm.
There's like sprinkles of things in different
Mhm.
games.
We have a whole
But
section at the end we can show.
but and I think even in a previous Life is Strange game they did this, but or maybe it was just a DLC, or maybe it was this one. I can't remember. I know in this one there's like a Dungeons and Dragons like
Yes,
whole
LARPing.
like it's so good.
In
That was
Before
one
the
of the
Storm, there's
best.
Dungeons and Dragons you can play. In this one, it's a LARPing scene. Yeah.
God, okay, so like
Very detailed.
whatever
Yeah.
one that you do, Dungeons and Dragons was Steph at some point in one of these games.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite sequences of all time. Like it's so good.
It's so nerdy and it's so good. Trapman Man said, "Yo, word, yeah, D&D is my jam." Yeah, if you honestly, full stop, if you like D&D, then I think you would like these.
Yes,
Just 'cause,
yes,
like, some of the
absolutely.
things, like especially like the choice-based stuff, and like they're in
Yeah.
the probability, like some of that. It's very, very good. Any other True Colors things before we move on?
I think you covered it from the high level standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely an interesting, innovative push for the series. Like
Yeah.
to our points, like the semi-open area that was the first, and just being able to go back into shops and experiences, and like going back to these people you had communications with. I think that is a step in a direction that you haven't ever seen with the series. So definitely, once again, also worth your time. And just a beautiful game. So
I will
pretty.
say, I'll bring it up a little bit just because it's interesting. I like the behind the scenes of games. And IGN a couple years ago did like a little expose on the development or some of the behind the scenes on this. They had some of the developers talk to them because there was trouble in paradise a little bit with this one. Some
I don't think I remember that. Well, yeah. What
So
went
some
down?
people were. I'm gonna call Square Enix out a little bit, but some people were saying some things about like Deck Nine management, blah blah, whatever. We're friends with them. No,
Yeah,
but
we're best-
no,
we're
yeah,
close.
whatever.
Besties.
But allegedly, I wasn't there, but IGN reports that there was some micromanaging by Square with this one and some of the writing, and they had instructed like in all the press junkets and everything leading up to this to basically not talk about Alex's sexual orientation at all. Don't address it. Don't talk about it. She's once it came out. And allegedly they said they don't want this to be known as the gay game, quote unquote.
But all of them sort of been
All of them
well,
are.
I know, but
you can't
whatever.
stop it at this.
Allegedly,
the train's full stop.
You know how suits are.
Pedal to the middle.
Square Enix, as much as I love some of the games, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, whatever, et cetera, the suits at that company sometimes are just out of touch. So they allegedly were trying to micromanage some of this and telling them not to talk about that kind of thing. And then when the game came out, it won a lot of awards for like its mindfulness and like community awards and stuff. So once it got like a lot of positive review, then they were like, oh yeah, I mean, we're so on board, look at her. She's the first, because people start connecting like this is one of the first openly bi main characters that I've played as, whatever, and started like a lot of good press. And so then Square Enix was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm curious, like, I mean, really both of you, but mainly Jerica, like, how do you feel about like when games, because this one I feel like is you get the option, like romance wise, like, do you feel like that is kind of like a cop out, or do you feel like they're like them trying not to full send, or how do you feel about like the romance choice of this, which I guess makes sense though, because I couldn't remember, Josh, if she's like canonly, like, is she bi?
I believe
like,
canonly
Yeah.
she is, from what I know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that kind of makes sense then. Never mind.
And
That was
even with
kind
the
of-
double exposure, like I think it's important to have like player choice. I think it's also like it just depends on the game. I do love when it is part of a character's DNA, but ultimately like the type of game that they are selling is a choose your own adventure. I know I like to sort of play like you, Kayla, like, how would this character think? What choice would they make? But I do like the option. I think the option's great for as long as the option's there, but I also like it being a part of that character's DNA and it being sort of like you're in for this ride no matter where we go. But I think for Life is Strange, I think it's a it's a tough one because I think for new characters, absolutely fine. But I think for Max, it's a little bit of a different story. Maybe we'll talk about that one day.
That's a good point. Yeah. And then this one also, like, one thing to thank you, Jerka. And one thing to mention too is this is the first adult main character that we're playing as.
Yeah. So it is a little different
interesting.
tone. The tone's different.
Yeah, and obviously there's like kids involved and like side characters of the story. But this is the first actual, like, you are an adult playing like as this character throughout the whole
big call
thing.
with that. Big shout out, because like that was the first thing. You're just like you're not adolescents. You're not
It's
a
not
teenager
as
trying to figure
naive,
stuff
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit more of adult dialogue and less cheese. You know what I'm saying? That teenage cheesiness. Dumbness.
All right, next we have, and final, technically, there's a couple more slides we have after this, but our final game we're discussing is Life is Strange Double Exposure, which came out in 2024 and was from Deck 9. As far as the kind of broad strokes overview of this one, Life is Strange Double Exposure brings back Max Caulfield a decade later as a young adult, now an award-winning photographer at a university where she discovers a new ability to shift between two timelines. Um, and because something has happened to one of her friends and it's forced her to use her power again, kind of the same like sort of setup where she's being forced to use the power that she has. And this is kind of an iteration of her power to investigate the crime and jumping between realities to find clues and understand what happened, all while navigating adult relationships and suppressing her powers. Because again, she tries to keep herself kind of under wraps. Like Josh mentioned a while back, this is not normal in this world. So that's kind of like the broad stroke. This one's tough to get into without any spoilers, so maybe we open it up at the end, so or at least or maybe later on, so Jared can talk about it. But yeah, this one's tough.
I won't say
Sure.
like overall, this is a weird one because like you were saying, like you would think like big Max and Chloe fan, I'd be diving into this.
Yeah.
And just I don't know, there was just always something about it. And then like I was starting to read a few things. I was like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of fans don't love this one. But I finished it today and I'll say I didn't love it. I liked it. I didn't hate it. I'm interested for the future, but there was some weird choices done with this one. And I think it was way too long. This game's way too long. This one, way too long. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of the same things a lot. So
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
what would
Yeah.
y'all say this one's? Here's the deal.
The pacing was weird. I won't spoil it, but the pacing was a little weird.
Some of
It
the
wraps
gameplay
up
was
fast,
cool.
so it's kind of long in the middle, but it wraps up really fast.
It's the prettiest. Like the facial animation in this game is
beautiful.
wild.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I felt like these people were just like injected into the TV screen. Like I'm like, what motion capture amazement are you using? That's not even a word. See, I don't read. Kojima might be interested in the tech they're using. It looked that good.
The micro expressions. There's
really
little micro expressions and stuff where they're
Like
they
their
capture it really
eyes,
well.
their eyelashes are literally like moving. It was so realistic that I just quit listening to what they were saying it sometimes. Cause I'm like, we've already had this conversation before. Not the strongest in the series. But I think it sets up some cool stuff.
I think that this one, for me, the use of Max's power is the strongest in this one.
For
I think
sure.
Absolutely.
the way that
Hands
they do
down.
that, yes.
I agree.
Very cool.
As far as the narrative, though, especially like some of the choice-based results in this one are not the strongest and maybe the weakest. And ending wise, like I think like what you're left with and kind of like the choices that it's lackluster for sure. But I think the way I'm very excited to see how they iterate on top of this for the next one, because if they are doing this much kind of with the power and with the environments,
it's going where I'm wanting it to go, and I'm so excited. I would say for anyone, I don't know if it's right now. PlayStation has this also on sale. I was perusing because I was like, I could play this on the PC, but I also would just like to get any trophies for it while I'm playing. Like peruse in the store. The deluxe edition is down from $80 for $40. I would still hold off on that. And if you're like playing all these games, you're so excited. Maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe y'all could tell me I'm wrong. I would just watch the YouTube video for this one just to see what goes on. The powers are fun. Maybe wait till it's like extra on sale. There was just something about it. I just didn't. I was like, oh no.
But I'll tell you about. So for me, I didn't play it at all. So again, like I think I was with you. I was like something just it just looked weird or something. But I didn't remember like anything about it. Like I didn't play it or anything, so I didn't even remember like what the premise was. Besides that, as Max is again. So I played it. I beat it this week or whatever. And I actually enjoyed it. There's some things with it we could say, but I really love like kind of two timeline kind of situations. That's kind of the premise of this, right? Is there's like alternate kind of dimension or whatever you want to call it, two timelines. And what I
reminded me of Titanfall.
Yes. So, some of the gameplay elements were kind of like
it wouldn't have been possible unless it was on the PlayStation 5. I just could hear Mark Cerny saying this for this game. This wouldn't be possible without the SSD PSSR on the PS5. It was cool.
Ray tracing.
One thing that was cracking me up, because this is, again, you're an adult in this one, not a kid. But what was cracking me up is like a lot of these games, like all these Life is Strange games, a lot of video games, a lot of Telltale games, RPGs, you're like, you're for some reason you're a detective and you're just going into people's houses, like opening all their drawers, like just looking for
Yeah,
stuff to
some people would be
like
like,
opening papers. You're talking
front of
to you're
them
just you're like
sometimes.
asking them like weird things. In this one, they all like basically start to get mad at you. They're like, "What are you like?
well,
What is your deal?"
one
It's
time I
so
was
funny.
snooping, and the first thing I would have said if I saw Max doing this to my briefcase, I've been like, "What the hell are you in my briefcase for?" And he said something else that was really strange, and I was like, "You're not mad about this?" There's some weird like, and I think it was just a writing element that was like a little off on this one. Like, I don't know, there were some holes in the narrative at times, and I feel like a lot of roundabout ways. I don't know. The writing wasn't as strong with this one.
There wasn't. I did like. We'll
Yeah.
talk about later. I like some of the twists. Were really good. I thought
Some
but-
like they had really good high points, but like a lot of
Yeah.
in between. I'm
I know
like
what you're saying. There's some
sort of
middle.
slop,
There's some middle,
in my
yeah.
opinion. You like not slop. That's a little rough, but just like, man, they're missing some spark here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's why I played this one, and I actually streamed some of this one if I remember correctly, and I was really hot on it until like the last like 20%. I think is where I was just like,
Yeah,
whoa.
it gets weird. I like the series does get weird at times, but this one it gets a little sloppy weird, I guess. Yeah.
It gets a little
think-
complicated, weird too, and I'm just like, whoa, how does that work? Okay, I'm just gonna go on this ride, I guess.
And then we can save our spoilers for the last section because I feel like our predictions when we talk
You
about
do have one more
that
slide though. You have
I
one
do.
more slide.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Oh,
I'm
hell
getting
yeah.
there, I'm
Oh,
getting
hell
there,
yeah.
I'm getting there. We can save our predictions for like we can save spoilers for when we get to predictions because there's
Yeah.
no way we can talk about predictions without spoilers. But before we move on to like the next kind of like bonus slide, I wanted to refer to I put a poll on our
Oh yes.
Instagram and I asked audience, what is your favorite Life is Strange game? And I couldn't fit double exposure in there, but I don't think it necessarily would have been anyone's pick anyway. But the JK Games official audience favorite Life is Strange game is drumroll True Colors.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Surprising. Okay, it's good. It's good.
So True
Wow.
Colors with 43% of the vote. Life is Strange won with 29% of the vote.
Mhm.
Before the Storm and Life is Strange 2 tied with 14%.
That's
so
fair.
that is
I like it.
It's fair.
that's
That's fair.
everyone, and we had some. We'll save this for the end, but we had some people submit their own predictions as well,
Yes.
and we'll talk about those soon. But go to the next slide, Josh. Let's talk about some other notable releases, both from Don't Nod, that really give like they're not Life is Strange games, but you really could just like plug in the Life is Strange name, and they essentially would be. I have not played Tell Me Why. I started it before this just to kind of get a taste of like what it was like. But we kind of talked about it earlier, but Tell Me Why is a narrative adventure game about twins Allison and Tyler who reunite after a decade to sell their childhood home in rural Alaska. I didn't know it took place in Alaska. That's fun. Uncovering secrets about their troubled past and their mother's death using a supernatural bond that lets them share memories and feelings. The story focuses on their different perspectives, mature themes, and transgender representation for Tyler. And Tlingit culture? Is that like
the like the Inuit, that's like the indigenous peoples. Yeah.
That's cool. With player choices affecting their relationship and the story conclusion. That's very exciting. And then I don't have the summary pulled up for Bloom and Rage, but we all played it. Did we talk about it on here? I think no. We did
I
a
was on
cast
Spotlight.
Yeah. No, so was I. Yeah.
No,
so
you
was
were.
Erica.
I don't think you were. Well, either
Wait,
way,
no, I
maybe
wasn't.
Because you
It
had
felt
FOMO.
like I was there.
Yeah, you had FOMO.
Oh yeah, that's right. But essentially, this one is the most recent. This came out last year.
Ooh.
Right? That came out 2025. And essentially, this one follows a group of girls. It's a narrative adventure about 4 teenage girls, Swan, Nora, Autumn, and Kat, who form a deep bond during a summer of 1995. Very 90s vibe.
This is cool. I really liked it. Like, you know how Stranger Things is like overly 80s. This one's overly 90s, but it's cool because
so
you don't
good.
get like a lot of like 90s nostalgia yet. This is so this one was really fun.
Yeah, it hit for me.
Yeah,
it was
me
so
too.
good.
Cater Blossom mentioned that she got gifted this for Christmas, so she might start there. That is perfect because it's technically not in the Life is Strange
Yeah,
universe at all.
so kind of to recap that a little bit. So
Yeah.
again, to reiterate, so Don't Nod kind of left their publisher and kind of Life is Strange was their creation, but all of that creative team that made Life is Strange then made this. The head writer, the director, like all of them, this is their new game. And it is very similar, basically, like we said, like you could just call it Life is Strange
Yeah.
and you wouldn't know the difference.
And if
Yes.
From the
If
gameplay, the
you-
format, the storytelling, the music, it's the same kind of thing.
if you were like any other kid with a camcorder or just
Yeah.
recording footage around the house or outside, me and my best friend, we like made all these really dumb horror movies out in the front yard. And like, it just really captured a lot of the just making movies with your friends with your camcorder. It was just so good. I love that element
Yeah.
in that game. It was fun.
And this one was interesting because this came out in 2 chunks. Right? It was just 2. It was Bloom and then Rage, right? That came out.
Correct.
a
It was
few months apart.
episodic, but it was just 2
was just-
episodes, but they're long. They're pretty long. They're like
Yeah.
5
Well, it
hours
was
each
multiple-
or something, or
Multiple episodes in 2
chapters.
parts.
Yeah, multiple
Chapters?
Or yeah. No, you're right. There's multiple episodes, but they did it in 2 chapters that were kind of spaced further. Even the soundtrack
Yes.
came out in 2 chunks because they didn't want to spoil it, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
This
was
one
weird.
Makes sense.
This one also has the most like supernatural kind of like
They're really leaning
elements.
into something, but it's very ominous. Kind of dark.
It's
There's some
good.
dark stuff going on
good.
here.
Cater
Yeah.
Blossom, I feel like I remember hearing that you really like Yellow Jackets, and if you do, this is basically
Yes.
Yellow Jackets. It's very similar. Vibe wise, like not necessarily theme wise. Some I would say actually yes.
Yeah?
But yeah,
Yeah.
very, very, very good. I'm also a big fan of Yellow Jackets.
I love
Um,
this. I can't remember where I put it on my top 10, but this was pretty high up on my top 10 of 2025.
Me
I
too.
just because it's like Don't Nod.
Oh.
I'm like, we're back
It
because
was my number 3, I think. I'll look
they
it up.
were kind of worried. The creators of Life is Strange, Don't Nod, they were saying like, they want to explore kind of this style again, and they were kind of worried, if it would perform well because this is like the first one they're doing on their own, kind of as their own publishing house, and luckily it did. It met their expectations, or I think it exceeded a little bit,
Mhm.
and so they haven't announced that they're going to keep going, but the implication was that if this one did well, that they would. But
Yeah.
just like how Life is Strange is, it sounds like it's going to be Lost Records something. So maybe different characters, different setting.
Yeah.
Who knows? It sounds like Lost Records is the new, Life is Strange kind of situation.
I could definitely see them continuing it. And I think I would be fine with a different set of characters in the same world, but there's still a story to be told with this.
There's
direct
stuff.
group.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff.
But yeah, I was wrong. This was my number
okay.
6. There were some
Okay, yeah.
problems I had with it. It wasn't like perfect necessarily. Like I do think there could have been a little bit more of the loose ends tied together, but overall,
top
like,
10, so.
100% worth.
I did-
It's
I
still in
did-
my top 10. Yeah.
Also want to circle back to Tell Me Why, which is kind of
Yeah.
they did this like on their own. It's pretty short. We talked about it a little bit like before the show because Kayla had just played it, but this one it's really cool if you have the time to play. I think it's still on Game Pass, I believe. Because like she mentioned, the setting is these twins and they're going back to this hometown, and it's a rural hometown, but one of the twins is now trans, and so like Jericho's mentioning too, just putting you in the mind space and like and the character scenario and the writing and everything of a different kind of experience. I don't know what that would be like, but to get to experience that through these characters, and all these people know them as someone else, and they're like dead naming and stuff. So like it's very interesting. Like you don't play games like this, right? So that's what I really appreciate about Life is Strange and Don't Nod in general, is just giving us the chance to play as something that maybe is outside of like what we're used to, some of us. And so just a really cool story. I haven't played anything quite like Tell Me Why. It is more of like an investigative thing, but just some of the stuff going on with the characters and all that is just really cool.
Every time I see the title, I go, "Tell me why."
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Every time. Yeah.
That's a good point.
for sure.
All
What about
right,
True
y'all.
Colors? That Cyndi Lauper song. True
Yeah, it
Colors.
is.
True
color. I same thing.
That's what you can call us. We're for hire.
Yeah, we're so good.
You know.
Blooming
All
rage.
right, y'all. Should we lift the veil?
We're gonna have to kick some people out,
And-
unfortunately, though. That's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you are new to the franchise, we hope we sold you on at least one of these games. But we are giving you the old warning and opportunity to. I already typed the spoiler thing in the chat. There we go.
Wow.
We're giving you the warning that we're going to now dive into predictions, spoilers, character cross, how characters show up in different games and what that might lead to as far as theories. Thank you so much, Trav Man and Cater Blossom. Coleman said, "Get out, losers."
Oh my God.
Rude. But Josh, if you want to go to the next slide, we can use this to talk about like cameos, connections. Let's do that first, and then we can get into full predictions. So in the next slide, we have the Life is Strange 2 and some of the like different cameos. Like one that completely shocked me was that David, Chloe's stepdad,
Yeah.
or like adoptive dad, shows up.
Yeah.
And he's got a ponytail.
Yeah.
Like
He's like in a
and
commune, a desert
Yes,
commune.
it's like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And like I was like, what? Like Josh had like kind of let me know. I think he was trying to like bait me to make sure I finished this one before. Bye Campos. But I was shocked. I did not expect him. And to Josh's point, we texted after and he was like, David shows up kind of the most out of any character. Like he's in Before the Storm, Life is Strange, now 2.
And he plays
I
like a
don't think
role
it's-
in all those
Yeah.
kind of, which is so funny.
And so we can talk about the big like Bay or Bay. I think we're all BAE.
Oh yeah,
probably, right?
BAE.
Yeah, of course. All
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Baymax.
If you decided to stay and you don't know what that means, essentially the big decision at the end of Life is Strange is whether or not you're going to save the town, Arcadia Bay, or you're going to save Chloe, and choose the Bay. And I mean, there's only one right answer.
There is truly.
Get rid of that town.
Yeah,
Here's
we
the
don't
town.
need it.
What town? And so that decision leads you to all of really the other games. Like you have to answer, which is funny, Josh. You should tell your story about what you accidentally did.
Oh yeah. I will. We'll get to
Coal Mine
that.
said save the Bay gang.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
Incorrect. Get out of here. He's trolling. That's homophobic. Coal Mine's rude.
Yeah, yeah. What are you trying to do, Coal Mines? Yeah, what are you? No, I'm going after him. What? He's just trying to make the better. He's not wrong. That is the correct answer.
It
Yeah.
But
is.
every day I'm gonna choose.
It is the
Chloe.
correct answer. It's kind of
It's a video game.
we won't get into Expedition 33 spoilers,
The
but
morality
it's similar.
of it all.
There's something
Oh
similar.
yeah. Oh yeah. Coal Mines. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Coal
yeah.
Mines E33. Which did you choose, Gustav or Mael's
Wow.
ending?
Interesting.
Tell us now while you're here. And you better
Interesting.
be honest and tell us what you
Wow.
actually chose.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
bet it's Mael's, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyways, you also see like, so all of us probably got the same iteration within Life is Strange 2. I'm curious if you chose Bay, B-A-Y, how David would have acted in Life is Strange 2. Because you hear him talk about Chloe.
I remember looking all
Um,
that stuff up at some point, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm fuzzy on that.
Interesting. Coleman said Mael first, but I wish I picked first. So
Yeah, okay.
no spoilers
Fair,
for
fair,
E33 in the
fair,
chat.
fair, fair.
Interesting. I was right. But anyway, so you obviously the big cameo too is like Chris, the little kid from Captain Spirit, has a big like through line in Life is Strange 2 where he's like friends with
Yeah.
Daniel
Yep.
and is the neighbor to them for a little
Yep.
bit, and you kind of know that he gets to experience him with his power, which you still
gets,
don't
like-
ever really actually see him use.
He gets
the
like hit by
power.
a car.
Yeah, it's rough.
You learn at the end of Life is Strange 2 though that he's arrived. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
show
you
like
get a
little-
end screen like little thing,
Yeah,
which I don't know if
yeah.
that's that way
Fine.
for everyone.
I
But
think
the,
so. I think he
It
survives.
was rough,
He always
dude.
survives.
That
I was
was
like, damn.
And Daniel's so sad as his friend.
Yeah, and you get to kind of describe. It was really funny because Sean is like, there's a specific dialogue piece where it's like, oh, can like Daniel come visit us here? And you can decide as Sean to be like, I don't know about that, but
Oh no,
that's
oh
possible.
no.
I chose to be like,
Uh,
yeah,
oh man,
maybe.
Yeah.
that's so
um,
funny.
but anyways, yeah, so that's kind of the big like cameos in Life is Strange 2. The next one, I actually wanted to talk about this really quick with you guys. The next slide is talking about Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. And I actually, oh god, I already forgot the guy's name. What's his name? Uh, the mom, Emily, so Chris's mother, is referenced in some of the documents as having gone to Blackwell, which is
Yeah.
the same kind of academy that Chloe and Max went to. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
No,
she's a
really, like,
alumni, and you can
yeah,
find the professor's photography book in their house too,
yeah, it's interesting.
which is interesting.
Um, and then if you remember the timeline wise, this would have been way after, like,
Yeah.
she would have went to the school before they graduated, but this is like after the events. But one other piece that I actually found that I haven't talked to either of you about yet is Chris's dad's friend, who is Nick, I think is his name, is actually in Life is Strange 2 as well at the Christmas tree farm market.
Oh yeah, okay, that was a cool scene.
And so he kind of references so he was like friends with the dad in Captain Spirit, and he's also like in Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
Not really a big cameo, but I thought
Yeah,
that was
yeah, that
interesting.
makes sense.
And then the final slide, which we kind of talked about earlier, was
Yeah.
the fact that Steph was in Before the Storm as a D&D and kind of just like a side character, but she returns in True Colors. And I didn't play I know, Josh, you played or at least listened to the Wavelengths
Yeah, I
DLC,
watched
which
the.
is
I had to
before.
watch the whole thing before this
Yeah.
because I didn't have time to play it.
Mhm.
So there's a DLC that Steph focused in Life is Strange True Colors. Nothing crazy happens. It is kind of sad. Actually, this is interesting. I don't know because I was watching a playthrough. Um, it seemed like in this playthrough, I don't know if you decide or whatever that it seemed like Arcadia Bay was destroyed because mostly in her DLC, you're alone in the radio station and the record shop. So there's no other characters you interact with. It's only like 2 hours the DLC.
Mhm.
And it's when she first like gets the job leading up to when she meets Alex. So it kind of time skips through different seasons. But there's a point where so in Before the Storm, she plays D&D with Chloe and with Miles, their friend Miles. And there's a point where she has this like FaceTime call with Miles from the record store in True Colors, and he had sent her a package of her D&D stuff, and so they're doing like a FaceTime D&D, but she has some kind of PTSD. It's actually crazy about Arcadia Bay getting destroyed, and her mom like died in the storm, and and some other people they know, like a lot of people they know, but her and Miles survived. And she has like survivor's guilt, and she has almost like these PTSD like flashbacks of Arcadia Bay getting destroyed, and like why did they survive, and like her
Meanwhile,
parents like didn't, and all this stuff.
Coal Mines is like, you know
Yeah,
what? See? Coal
but
Mines, don't be mad at us. Come
I
back.
don't know. I'm gonna have to look up later if you can. I don't even know if they give you. I don't know if that was like a just a canon thing for that DLC or if you can like switch that because I'm wondering what she says. Otherwise, maybe she just reflects on Chloe
Yeah.
differently or something. I don't know. But it was
I
very
mean,
Good
interesting.
point.
I was like, wow,
there
this is
are
interesting.
there are comics out and
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
explores like I think they're pretty solidified in like Arcadia Bay is destroyed. I don't know if
That's
they
what I
flat
thought
out said
too.
it, but there is way more
I think that's the
content that
canon,
supports
yeah.
that. Yeah. I know.
I
I don't
made a
know.
mistake when I played Double Exposure. This was Jarek. Caleb told me to tell you this. I mistakenly chose Bay instead of Bay. I chose BAY. I didn't
Oh
realize that.
no.
I didn't realize that's what I was answering for some reason. Even though it was like,
Yeah.
did you break up with Chloe or did she die or something? But it
Yeah.
created some interesting. I
Huh.
actually thought the some of the choices later in the game when Max is describing to Sophia like when Sophia's kind of getting out of control and she's talking about like her experience of like she had to make like the hardest decision ever of like basically killing her best friend and like what that did to her and like all this stuff. So actually like I think it is kind of traumatic like if you choose that you
Mhm.
know to sacrifice Chloe because
Yeah.
it affects her like a
I
lot.
just think, yeah, like back to that choice, like I think I think Max as a character and trying to relate to someone that is a teenager and, you know, their closest friend. I think like for me, I would have
I
in that
agree.
moment, I would have picked my best friend.
Me too.
Someone I've been going
Yeah.
through this with,
Especially
right?
that town like
Especially at that
sucks too.
age.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the
And you're just
town,
like, forget this town,
their
get
situation and stuff. So
yeah.
like, you know, it's interesting. Yeah. When are we going to talk about? Yeah, I'm so ready. What's next? What's next?
Josh, can
Yeah.
you set it back to the first slide and we can just
Okay.
chat predictions? I would love to
Let's
just chat
go.
predictions now. Jerica, unleash your cage. I want to hear what you're. How are you feeling post double
Okay.
exposure?
Yeah. Tell us what you understand about it, because you kind of had to rush through a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, well, I know I got some holes here, but ultimately
okay.
the setup is that, you know, Savi, is the first character that Max has met that has power. So
Mhm,
like
correct.
Yeah.
to us, you know, we're sort of used to it because as a player, we're experiencing all these different stories from these
Correct.
characters. So like seeing Max sort of take that in and how Max is handling that has been the most interesting part of the story to me. Some of the power dynamics and for Safi's character, like the way she's handled at the end is a little weird to me. I can't tell
Yes.
if it's just a lot of the power itself affecting her to where it's sort of
Yeah.
like not these mood swings, but a lot of I feel this way and then I'm back at this way. I'm back. Is she just still a little bit broken? Um, I'm curious to see what y'all think, but I'm like, I feel like we're finally getting to the point where I'm just ready for them to open up. Like Savi mentions is like, Max, you don't have to follow me, or we can. We both have powers. Let's take on the world. Let's find other people like us.
Yes.
And I'm so eager to see that vision like happen finally. I've been waiting for these characters to meet. I've been waiting to see more like Marvel Cinematic Universe shit happen in the Life is Strange universe. I think it'd be really cool, especially like a grounded, realistic experience, like individuals dealing with this and people not knowing about it. Or do people know that people have powers? I don't know. It's so exciting. But yeah, like I'm excited to where that is setting it up. But I'm also just interested in like, wow, Max taking in the fact that there's someone else with superpowers is pretty cool too.
Mhm.
Yeah. I agree that I think like the way that's why I didn't love the end because I just feel like some of the I don't know. I feel like some of the decisions that we were making as like the player weren't really impacting the story as much towards the end.
I
And it
agree.
could be just because they're like trying to send like a specific narrative. But like I will say though, Jerica, did the twist get you where it's like you killed her? Did that got me?
That did. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I
I
don't
like
know what's
that too.
happening here.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
truly didn't expect this character to have powers. I did
That was
not
cool.
expect the
Yeah.
time or the shape shifting. I thought it was cool. That was a nice
Well, I think
twist.
this is another
It
thing,
was
like
really
I'm
cool.
talking about, like how it tied into the BAY option, because when that happens, like she sees herself, whatever, and then that initial conversation when she talks to Sophia and she's like, yeah, you know, basically another timeline, I kill you. Here's the picture, like I kill you, and she's like, well, I mean, she kind of laughs off. She's like, that's crazy. Like, can you see yourself even doing that? She actually says like she can't. I mean, you can kind of choose, but one of the reasons she says she can is because she did it before with Chloe.
Yeah.
She said like, I had to make that choice because every time we use our powers, there's a consequence, and
Yeah.
there's no way around it, and I had to make that choice. I've done it before. So the interesting thing
Yeah.
is when she saw the picture
Mm.
with a gun, she could see a version of herself that would do that, because
Yeah.
if that's what it took, like she would do it again. It's
Which
crazy.
kind of leads to I have definitely seen like I haven't fully investigated like what everyone else's theories are, which is we're going to read some listener ones later, but there is a theory I have seen that's like this game kind of set up the option for there to be both timelines coexisting of like whether you chose to destroy
Mhm.
Arcadia Bay or not. And so like there's kind of both options going on at the same time. And maybe both options really do exist like in canon in timeline. Um, but do we want to go into our predictions first,
Oh
or do we
yeah, I
want
got
to?
prediction.
Okay,
I
or do you
think-
want me to read some?
Oh, read some and then we'll get to ours. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I only have a couple. Coal Mines active in the chat. Maybe not anymore because he's mad at us. I'm just kidding. Chloe visits Max. So prediction for the game that's about to get announced tomorrow. Chloe visits Max at the college and gets entangled in her little time traveling adventures.
Yeah.
So she just like comes to visit her. I'm watching football. And it got me thinking, that's funny. And then we have Trap Man Man, who also was in the chat, didn't really give a prediction, but said cash in for Life is Strange old heads. So I guess like fan service of some sort, probably. Samson, who was here earlier.
So.
Samson, who was here earlier, said, "Give me middle-aged mom main character." That's interesting.
Ooh,
I've been dying for that story. I agree.
Yeah.
I said this for The Last of Us 3. I want to see Ellie like in her 40s, you know, like come on, let's see some women in their 40s, you know. I'm getting close. I want to play those games.
We could follow. What do you think about Sophie's mom, Jerica?
I don't like. She's lame.
She was kind of crazy. We need an anti-Cole.
Yeah, Sophie. I think she's gonna be our villain. I think they're setting up her for a villain arc, and I'm down. I'm down. I'm excited.
Mad Exposure on Instagram said it's going to be an alternate timeline like the comic books. Alternate timeline, so trendy right now. So like this can maybe
it's
be
just like just like something. Could be. I mean, maybe, that's what the powers are. So
I mean,
what was that?
I don't know. Like, I need to finish those comics. I'm curious, like, what that deviates from. Is that just the time that has happened before Max got to this college? Because they talks about all these adventures with Max and Chloe together, and that's what the comics essentially are. I think I've read like the first one. That's the only one I've read.
Well, let's go ahead and give our Life is Strange 2026 game release predictions. Official predictions. JK Games. Josh, you want to start?
Okay, sure. So listen, I've been doing a lot because I just played like basically all these games, and like I just recapped like a lot of them. And do you remember? So first of all, I got visuals too. So one thing is we'll pull up the trailer of the new one. So this is what they've shown so far. They're announcing it tomorrow. Teaser. They're announcing it tomorrow. So they just had a little teaser. You gotta walk in front of the camera, and you gotta walk in front of the camera, right? Oh, okay. Okay. So obviously, first thing you think is Max and Chloe, and then at first I'm like, I don't know, but no, this is definitely obvious? Max. It's Max and Chloe. So we can do a little frame by frame. This is like, okay, that's Max. That's new Max for sure. But look at this right here, this patch. It's a Raven patch on her jacket. And then you have
Blackwell. That's the Blackwell logo, right?
We don't know for sure who this is, but you have the Raven patch here too. And on one frame, which I might have to move the YouTube little capture on like one frame. Hold on.
There's a way you can move it frame by frame. I just forget what it is.
On one frame, you can see a flash of hair that is bluish green.
Ooh.
On one frame. Let me find it.
Oh God, here we go.
This is the podcast. You can't really see it on this screen, but in this frame, right towards the end here, there's a bluish green fringe. Yeah, on the hair.
Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah.
So, okay, this is Chloe. The thing is, too, I just finished Before the Storm, like playing Before the Storm, and in Before the Storm, there's so much Raven imagery associated with Chloe when she's like in the Shakespeare play. When every time she sees a flashback with her dad, there's like a Raven in the scene. So I thought how interesting that that now you have Chloe and Max like wearing like this like almost like, I don't know, not quite military, but like whatever.
Yeah.
And so like what Jerica's saying, that it almost is like this villain arc. It does seem that this is the Avengers Assemble, right? So I think that in my mind, Safia is trying to put together some kind of superhero army. There's a post-credit scene where one of the side characters of Double Exposure gets recruited by her. Diamond gets a bloody nose, and then Safia just shows up and is like, all right. So it seems like she's going after these people who are new to their powers. And remember, she tells Max, like, we're like gods. Like, why do you want to give this up? We're literally like gods. Gods have these powers. And so, yeah, I think this is like a villain arc. And I think Max is
Mhm.
going to try to figure out how to stop her somehow.
Mhm.
But so why is Chloe back? Obviously, like, I think everyone's right with this timeline stuff because I think it's combined. We don't really know. Like, this is the first thing I thought of when at the end, when you're like, it gets weird in double exposure, but at the end of the game, everyone has two memories of two different things happening. Is that just
Yeah.
in that town, or is that like,
I think it's
does
just
that
in the
happen
town because
everywhere?
because
Maybe.
it's I think only because of the town because of what Safi was able to do. And that's
Yeah.
the only reason that's happened because of Safi like
And
duplicating or replicating them or whatever, shape shifting into them.
I think what's interesting is she's now Max has like a little press conference with her friends and like other people in the little town.
This whole
telling-
town knows
Yeah.
what she
So
can
now
do.
it's like
Like,
out,
how do you control
right?
it? How do you control it?
Right, it's out. So
What's to
I
stop these
think
people
that,
from telling the government, you know?
exactly.
People
I
coming
think
in.
based on her powers, and let's just assume for discussion's sake that Chloe is dead as like a canon ending or whatever. I think there's a world in which she gets Chloe back from like a different place.
Yeah.
Like a version of her.
But does that only happen if you chose that to save the Arcadia Bay, or
I think
like,
it's
'cause
getting
that's
so
I feel like
complicated with both of those that they're just gonna make like a single thing where it's like
that would kind of
everything
bother me a
happens.
little bit. I don't know.
Well,
Because I feel like you should commit, and then like you're gonna have to make it work.
Just
I
make it
think
work.
I bet they're creative. They figure out a way to blend both, but like also at the same time, I don't know how they make this work because I thought it was really interesting that the detective in Double
Yeah,
Exposure
that was
like
weird.
was making connections.
He was.
And I'm like, where are you getting your info from?
That was a weird one because then he didn't exist after that and they never talk about him.
They don't
again.
explain. I'm like, was that done
Maybe
on
he comes
purpose?
up
Like,
again later.
I just
It was
wonder if he's been
interesting.
investigating this. Yeah, like I wonder if that has
like one of these like FBI type where it's like you know, some the
you know, like in
superpowers.
like Stranger Things, like like the other government that
Right.
knows about these entities and shit. Like, is
I just
there?
think,
Are they? Is it like X-Men? Is someone hunting the X-Men here?
This is Chloe and Max in this teaser. So let's see what Coleman says. What if they split the timelines and they make you save the world by choosing to save the city or save Chloe again by closing one of the timelines? Yeah, so that could be interesting.
That's a good one.
Now we're talking.
That's strong. That's
That's good.
That's sex.
Add coal mines to the writing team.
Let's go.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is the interesting thing though, because Max is now hesitant, obviously, to use her powers. She already was, and then with everything that happened with Sophia, I feel like that's gonna make her even more hesitant to do like major changes. So something's gonna have to. There's got to be some inciting incident that's gonna have to cause her to use her powers again for a third time, even though she knows that there's consequences. That was a big plot with her character arc in Double Exposure, is that there are consequences to all my actions. So what is going to happen that's so big that she has to like, yeah, undo something or redo? But the fact that now she can maybe go to other worlds versus other times, it's kind of interesting. So
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. Like, my predictions pretty much align with y'all's, but if I feel like there's gonna be another big cameo of some sort from a different game, and if there is, who do you think it would be, or like who would you guys want? I feel like it would be cool if they brought in like
I think we need Daniel back.
I think
he's
we
very
do too.
powerful.
Yeah.
yeah, does he show up like at the, or is it like, you know, kind of like what Coal Mine said, where it is like Avengers style? Do they recruit like all of the people with powers?
Does Safi find these people first and start like spewing all this garbage and like
Oh,
does
that's a
she
good
show up
point.
back on the doorstep? Hey, because she's like basically like Max is staying in this town for when she comes back. That's what I gathered from it. Like she doesn't want to leave the town like until whatever Safi's returning because she's like, will you wait for me? And it's very strange.
The
Like, I don't really
options is weird because I looked them up at the end because it seemed weird too. That's like your big choice at the end is like, are you gonna wait for me or not? Or like, are you in? It's like Darth Vader, like, will you join me? And if you say yes, they hug, and then she's like, all right, well, see you around, and leaves. If you say no, she just kind of evilly smirks and just she turns into you and then
Max,
walks away.
Yeah.
I did that
So
one.
Which is scary. That's
It
not
is
good.
scary.
That's not good.
So That's interesting. I just thought it was so interesting. They're both wearing like this uniform with like the Raven
Mhm.
logo. Like they're like some
Yeah.
kind of anti-Savi crew, you know?
Yeah.
Now, here's another question though. Since we are getting so much Raven imagery, which is typically targeted at Chloe, is Chloe the playable main character in this one? Like, is it Chloe's
I've seen
game?
a lot of rumors with that. I don't know if there's like based
Yeah.
on like true leaks of information
Yeah.
that people know, but I've seen that around. So that's a
It
good
could be.
possibility. I mean,
Or
just
is this our
I mean, if there's two alternate realities that have been blended together in that this other world, did Chloe have powers? You know, like who's
Right,
to say?
right,
Like,
right,
did
right, right.
Chloe have like
Okay,
some kind of
that's
ability?
another thread I was wondering about, which is like, what if Max, whatever the inciting incident is, she needs, you know, Bay back, right? She needs Chloe back,
They can
and she
finally
finds a
kiss.
version of her that like not only like we're because either in either timeline she's either dead or they're broke up, so that's sad either way.
Yeah.
Like in
Either way,
double
they're not on good
exposure.
terms. Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
if she messes with things to the point where she finds a Chloe that likes her and is like powerful in some way or something? But that could mess things up too, obviously. Like
Yeah.
It could.
you know.
Or
And
is
it
she
seems
evil
like they
and
it seems like they
has
don't really
powers?
care about rules too much. So I think
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah,
But this
yeah,
last game, I think it's fine.
Now you have like other dimensions and times and like whatever. So it is kind of comic
Or
book style, right?
or do they really pull one over on us and this is not a continuation of double exposure and this is something else? Because I mean,
I don't think I think this is like who said it? Fan service. Every game look up a
We
double
want 'em
exposure
back.
video, look up a Life is Strange 2 video. Every comment, well, where's Chloe and
Chloe,
Max? Chloe and Max.
Chloe.
yeah.
I just think Square Enix as the publisher, the money, they're like, you're making a game with
You better
Chloe
put
and
these
Max. Figure it
girls
out.
back in together.
Yeah.
There's
that's
this famous
fair.
thing about Star Wars when it got taken over, that the suits at Disney were telling all the Star Wars directors or whatever, like Chewbacca has to be in the movie, and they're like, Chewbacca doesn't make sense to be in the movie. They're like, you have to put Chewbacca in the movie, and so Chloe is kind of like the Chewbacca now, right? Because they're like,
So
you
better,
gotta do
much
it.
better than Chewbacca though. But I get
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing, but way better. Like it's
That's so
we
funny.
haven't seen Chloe in like 10 years basically.
Yeah.
So like I think it's time that we return to this. And if it's this branching multi-hero story, you know, and I'm not talking on the scale of all these superheroes like Avengers style, but like to like a small group of people, maybe like indie X-Men movie sort of, you know, just like something that's like how are real people trying to cope with powers? And I'm not even talking about The Boys. I think that's like another superhero story that's just like off in the other direction.
God.
And but it'd be really cool. Like I think it would be nice to see like in reality, if we know these characters, they're good people, except Sabi. We don't know this yet. We don't know this, but maybe we find out. How do good people know, like come figure out how to handle these powers, and like how do they learn about other people with these powers, and what do they do when they know that? Like
Yeah.
it'd be cool to just see, like it'd be like me and Kayla met out, I don't know, wherever, and we got in a situation where we like, how would we handle having powers? Would we tell people? Would we do
Yeah.
anything with it? Would we be like
We
Max?
tell
Like,
each other?
we don't want to use them anymore. I'm scared to do
Yeah.
anything. So what? I'm just not going to do that anymore. You know?
Yeah.
It's like that's really cool, but I would be scared to use my powers just like Max. Like
Yeah.
I'd be terrified. That is something I don't want to mess with. And why is Max's powers? What has changed? Like why did her ability
Yeah, it
change?
changed.
And
Yeah.
how did she get them in the first place? Because that's also something we didn't mention. Like,
Yeah, no one
there's
really
no
knows.
like
Yeah.
cause for any of this
No.
from any.
Yeah.
I hope
Do we
I
get
kind of hope they
that?
don't
Do we get
I don't
that?
know. I don't like it to be over explained. I
That's
think
true.
maybe.
That's a
But-
good point. Last thing too, though, when do we think this game comes out? It says 2026.
I think if they're
When-
teasing it now, that's marketing. They're starting the marketing. I think it's going to be
Like
this.
6
I think it'll be
months out.
fall. I think it'll be summer, fall. Yeah. Oh, when does GTA 6 come out? They're not going to want to go.
That's gonna get
November,
delayed again.
Well, I know.
November.
So they're
gonna
not.
get
That'll
delayed.
be before that.
It's
so it'll be
fine. Yeah.
August.
August. Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I think it'd be
Maybe,
out in
like-
6 months.
So when's
Okay.
that? I don't even know.
I
Like
don't
in
know.
June?
Oh.
Yeah, summer then. There you go.
Yeah, summer.
Yeah, that could work. I feel like it's still a little early though. I don't know, but who knows? I think we'll know more when
You'll
they
ha-
actually show it.
They're gonna do this live stream, and then E3 doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of people save stuff for that kind
That
of
block of time.
April, May stuff. So they'll do another thing then probably, and then
Has
summer.
Life is Strange ever had like a live stream like this before though?
No, not really.
No,
I think it's a
I don't
big
think
deal.
so.
I don't think
Trying
they
to hype
come.
it.
I don't think they come to this without a release date.
That's why it's Chloe and Max.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing this. It's Chloe and Max. That's why they.
I
showed
know,
the
but
two-
I think they.
you
so,
can't. You can't do
they're
a
good-
trailer with these two people and be like, "Oh, this is our new
Yes, they
protagonist."
could have. They could
no,
have.
They could.
I think
They
this
will
is a
not
bigger
do
deal
that.
than what we think, and I
They
think
will
it
not
has
do
a
that.
release date, and I think it's pretty soon. I don't think they would do all this hype and people.
You think they got?
They don't want anyone
what's
to
her name
forget
back
about
as a
it.
voice actor?
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
Expensive.
Now,
sure.
do we think that it's an all-in-one release, or do we think it's episodic?
All in one.
I think
All-in-one?
Yeah, they haven't done Deck 9 hasn't really been doing the, they do chapters, but they haven't been doing the episodic.
Why we got a T-pose
don't know.
Chloe right
I
here?
don't know. It's
Got the
fun.
raven on her shirt. She's ready.
Yeah.
I actually think that maybe it's 2 parts. That's my final prediction. I think it's 2 parts. I think we get one.
Like Bloom and
Soon?
Rage.
Yeah, I think we get one sooner and then one towards the end of the year. I think.
It's exciting. Tomorrow. I
God,
think
it's so
tomorrow.
fun. I'm
excited.
11:30 our time. I think.
Yeah,
excited.
It's gonna be really cool, and this was really fun talking Life is Strange with you guys. Any other? I don't think I missed anything as far as.
I
Thank
think
you guys. We had a lot of pop and chat tonight.
Papa.
One thing I thought of too with the Steph DLC on True Colors.
Mhm.
I don't know if this was intentional because Chloe had been gone, but she's a fan favorite. I really feel like the way she's written in that DLC is like almost meant to be like a Chloe replacement in the future potentially,
Mhm.
because even some of how her voice sounded and how she was like
Her mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Especially
very,
when she grabbed the cigarette. She's just like,
very similar. So I don't know, like if they're trying
that'd be
to
a cool
do
dynamic.
a replacement, and they're
Not
friends
replacement,
because
but I
like
wanted them
they
to
hang
meet
out
now.
in they hang out in Before the Storm
Yeah.
because you play D&D with her as Chloe.
Shit, I thought you were talking about Savi for a second.
Oh no, I'm talking
Damn.
about Steph. I know
I
that's
thought
funny too.
Savi like had a
Yeah.
lot of mannerisms
She,
like
she
Chloe.
does too. But
And,
so I don't know. I think they've been searching for that. That's a good point though. Both of those characters kind of have some of the vibe. I think they've been trying to give fans like some kind of whatever. They're not buying it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They're not buying it.
Nope. It's not Chloe.
Wow.
Yeah.
We want
All
Bay
right,
back.
y'all.
We don't want to look at the Bay, BAY anymore. We
No.
don't care about it. Just give us back our BAE right now.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching the VOD after the fact. We'll have to update when we know what's
Yeah.
going on for sure. And definitely whether or not Jerica is there, Spotlight Games will be covering the reaction tomorrow. And I think we might go do a little raid to our friend French Dip that we mentioned earlier.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
In like 10 seconds. So wave at the camera. Bye, guys. Happy Life is Strange when you're watching
Eve.
this. Eve. Bye.